Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy and 20 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
The Prime Minister will today announce the next step in his plan to make Australia carbon neutral by 2050. Nine's Michael Packey has more.
A $1 billion low emissions technology fund would see the government invest in start-up businesses to help get projects off the ground. Half the money would be distributed through the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. The other half would come from the private sector. Among the projects would be carbon capture and storage, as well as measures to reduce methane gases by improving livestock feed. The special fund would require legislation, potentially wedging Labor ahead of the next federal election. The opposition has already indicated it won't support using taxpayer money to invest in certain projects.
A car that crossed into SA late yesterday afternoon has been involved in a smash on the Northern Expressway. The Kia Carnival crashed near Gawler around 7 last night. The 28-year-old Victorian driver allegedly drove the stolen vehicle across the border near Yamba around 5:30. He's expected to front court today on a string of charges. We can't put our raincoats and umbrellas away just yet. The Weather Bureau is monitoring a low in the north of the state. Meteorologist Jenny Horvat says if it tracks south, there could be heavy rainfall across Adelaide tomorrow.
We will be going into cooler conditions of around 16 degrees for Thursday. And then as we go into that cooler southerly flow, showers persisting for Friday and into the weekend with temperatures around 17 degrees.
A new pill designed to help stop people contracting COVID has cleared its first hurdle for use in Australia. The Therapeutic Goods Administration has given AstraZeneca the go-ahead to apply for provisional registration of the treatment. The medication is designed to stop virus cells entering the body. A family friend of the man accused of abducting Cleo Smith has spoken out as police ramp up their search at the WA home where the little girl was found. Detectives are focusing on a car parked in the driveway of the Carnarvon house. Barbara Graham believes someone else was involved.
There would be, because he haven't got to know how about to do things. He would have had someone there to show him what to do and where to go and what all these things, you know.
Meantime, Cleo has visited the local police station with her parents to pick up presents from the community. Cheap Trick will roll into Adelaide next March as part of a 3-day music festival. Under the Southern Stars will be held at Benithan Park across the closing weekend of the Fringe. It will also feature Bush, Rose Tattoo, the Super Jesus and the Black Sorrows. Promoter Andrew McManus says after COVID effectively put the handbrake on live entertainment, it's great to be back.
It's going to be like a national campaign to bring people to South Australia, because nowhere else in the country is going to see these lineups all available for a 1-night, 2-night or 3-night pass.
Tickets go on sale this Friday. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr. Dishwasher.
And it's good morning to Tom Rehn.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football, and Carlton faces the prospect of heading into the 2022 season without one of its senior players who refuses to be double vaccinated. The player faces being put on the inactive list or, as a last resort, sacked. Well, the man in charge of the MCG says they're hopeful a crowd of around 80,000 for the Boxing Day test will be given the all-clear by the government. This week's Shield game tested their COVID-safe plan, even though on a much smaller scale. MCC CEO Stuart Fox says throughout this period they've always aimed high.
It has been a bit like an auction. We've always asked for more, and I think it's been a pretty tough time for the government approving the numbers we want versus what actually comes through. So I think we're very, very confident now that we're going to have good crowds for Boxing Day. And, you know, the Premier has said that we're aiming for 80,000. That's yet to be fully confirmed.
Well, the Adelaide Strikers women's side has kept its top 4 hopes alive after an 18-run win against the Sydney Thunder here in Adelaide yesterday. Dane van Niekerk and Laura Vulvart led the way with the bat, both making half-centuries. They won't have any time to celebrate, however, with another match today against the Sydney Sixers. And Dylan Alcott is considering a career in acting or politics. That's once his wheelchair tennis career wraps up after next year's Australian Open. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Hereford Recliners, handcrafted for your ultimate comfort. Call 1300 114 118.
Partly cloudy for your Wednesday, a top of 20, showers tomorrow 19, then Friday showers continuing 17. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6:06, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. The chances to win tickets to the carols after 6:30 this morning. We're playing a little game we like to call Don't Forget the Lyrics. And before 7, Vincent McAviney will join us, our man in the UK with the latest from London. Then after 7, this is the most peculiar shortage, I think, in Australia's history. We have a shortage of Santas right now. We don't have enough Santas. There are going to be shopping centres around the country without a Santa because we just can't find enough of them at the moment. The good news is, if you are a Santa Claus, time to cash in. We're going to talk about the shortage after 7 o'clock. Supply and demand, David, it's just simple economics. Sean Fuster after 7:30 will go round the courts, and then a little bit later in the morning, Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners, mate. I think you spend far too much time reading Milton Friedman when you were studying for your BEC. The idea that I'm going to get down to Castle Plaza on December 22, which is our usual go-to venue to see Father Christmas, and he says, kids, okay, going to teach you a little bit about supply and demand.
The market
economy. Because I am the only Santa in the southern suburbs, and as you see, the queue's pretty long. So let's apply a bit of the sort of rental market sort of psychology in this and say there is a way to get to the top of the queue, but it involves money.
Yeah.
Cold hard cash.
Photos are now $1,000 each.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And
we don't like it.
If you want the little magnetic fridge frame, so you can give something to Mum and Dad and your mother-in-law, that's going to be another $500 on top of that.
All I'm saying is, don't be surprised if you see people drop out of high-profile accounting and law jobs. To become store Santas.
Yeah, there could be a big
well, it's just how the
corporate Adelaide's looking elsewhere because There's a glut of lawyers.
There's a lot of lawyers.
That's one of the reasons why they've changed the fee structure. Too many people get 500 out of 500 for matric these days and go, I'll become a lawyer. No. Become a Father Christmas.
Nature is an equilibrium. It will find its balance, and we'll have fewer lawyers and more Santas by Christmas.
As you put it that way, it's not such a bad idea. Lawyers being the natural enemy of the journalists.
Do you want lawyers being Santa Claus? That's the issue.
I reckon I studied enough law to make a good Father Christmas.
You'd be... Yes. You're just the right amount.
Yeah, that's right.
You didn't tip over.
No. Didn't tip over into actual knowledge. But it's sad, isn't it? Part of it's because of border closures too.
Yeah. So it's clearly an industry where that requires the movement of people. How many things are we finding suddenly don't work in the absence of people moving around the country or people coming into the country?
I was talking to a mate who runs a business. He's had to augment his staff with prisoners. Deadly serious.
Is that right?
Yeah. In labouring roles.
How does that work in Australia? I know because in the United States they do, labour. They have the chain gang. But you've never been able to do it in Australia.
Well, no. Apparently you have. You have. Yeah.
I always thought it was a union thing here where
they're they're not getting people out of maximum security at Yatala, but yeah. He said this guy's a great worker.
Well, I was just wondering, so is it a voluntary thing from the prisoners going, I'd like to go out and do some...
No, I think they get paid. They get paid for it.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's
we should look into it and see whether there's
it's an
actually...
interesting story.
Because I've been meaning to actually follow it up as a story, potentially for the paper, to see if there's been an uptick in manufacturing businesses or labouring businesses contacting corrections and saying, well, look, we're actually really short. It could be a good fodder for, casual work chat if you're working vintage down the Southern Vales in February, March and get chatting to the guy next year. How long have you been picking grapes for? Ever since I went on that bank robbing spree, I started to turn to grape picking to top up the income while at Mow belong. Wherever he is.
How long are you planning on picking grapes for? 25 to life?
Have you ever picked grapes?
No.
I know what's worse. jail or picking grapes.
Oh, is it?
It's really hard.
It's unpleasant, is it?
It's really full
Why,
on.
what's the being?
Well, it's normally about 43 degrees when you do it. But
yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
I did it straight after school and got paid what felt like 50 cents for every gigantic 2-ton wooden bucket that you could fill up.
You should have been a Santa.
I know. If I had the time over, I would have studied Santaology.
I wonder if don't even joke about it, because it'll become that's how we work these days. If there's a desirable job, we'll create a degree that you need to do something.
Have they got a union? Is there the Federated Brotherhood of Father Christmases?
I think there is. I wonder if any of our listeners got a yeah, that's right. Any of our listeners got?
Are we going to get vaccinated?
Oh, well, I think you'd have to, wouldn't you? In a Westfield or in a big shopping centre?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the union's going to suggest that the 10% of Father Christmases who don't want to get vaccinated should be redeployed to non-front-of-house positions.
They're doing Santa paperwork.
Yeah, that's right.
Answering letters.
Well, a lot of letters to reply to.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
Tending to the elders.
Maybe they're waiting for a protein-based vaccine.
Did any of our listeners get a robocall last night?
Apparently there were stacks of them.
Yeah, there were a heap of these. Lots of activity on Twitter. There was they didn't identify where it came from, but some of the things that I saw people tweeting about, Clipsal 500 was in there, got asked about. The ICAC, transgender awareness being taught in schools. 8223 text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Interested to hear from anyone who got called, because we want to tease out who we think it's from.
See, I think that list means it's neither the Labor Party nor the Liberal Party.
It doesn't seem to suit either.
Well, ICAC doesn't suit either of them.
Yep.
The Clipsal 500 clearly suits Labor, but the transgender stuff, unless the Libs were doing push polling suggesting Labor's so left-wing that they're going to bring that back. I mean, if they're doing that, I don't think they've met Tom Koutsantonis and Peter Malinauskas.
Yep.
But my guess is that it's family first.
Oh, Jack Snelling.
Yeah, because all those things together sound like the kind of...
Yeah, that works.
Sort of mishmash of anti-progressive but also populist, like aimed at a blue-collar vote. And you think, too, Tom Kenyon's running in the northern suburbs, I think, for family first. Clipsal, big issue out there.
Well,
I reckon it might be them.
Okay, 8223 I think it's a good theory. You can text us too on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. If you got the call, give us a call and let us know what how long it went for, what the questions were. Did you get a sense of who you think authorised it? 13 after 6, news headlines up next.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
For 37 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. Now that spring is here, Steinborner Automotive Gawler has stocked up with 40 hand-picked 2018-19 ZB Commodores. Choose from a range of factory edition or special black edition with black roof and black wheels. That's 2018 and 2019 ZB Commodores from $22,990, all with a balance of factory warranty. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
Now, people call Australia the lucky country, but not so many young people. They don't feel as lucky as those who built this country or who arrived after leaving their homeland.
Right now, only half of all young people say that they feel positive about the future. Most of them worry they don't have the skills needed to get a job, and that's why the work of Youth Opportunities is so vital.
For 24 years, Youth Opportunities has been helping young Australians become personal leaders and take positive control of their lives by giving them lifelong skills, habits and confidence to thrive, whatever their circumstances.
But they can't do it alone. Your donation helps them continue their outstanding work. So please donate today at youthopportunities.com.au.
If you suffer from enlarged prostate symptoms, you're not alone. Over 660 million aging men worldwide are affected by this condition. Symptoms include a frequent need to urinate both day and night, a weak stop-start urinary system, and a feeling of incomplete bladder emptying. An enlarged prostate can be treated, and that doesn't mean daily medication. Talk to your GP about your options, including proven minimally invasive treatments. Find out more at bphsolution.com.au.
Did you know that the Reject Shop has your grocery essentials at Australia's cheapest prices? Including 500-gram Beyondia assorted pasta, only 50 cents each. For the cheapest snacks and groceries, it's got to be the Reject Shop, where we guarantee cheapest prices every day.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 after 6, 8223 is our number if you'd like to have a chat. You can text us still on the Telstra Storm Out Market text line 044808 1395 or watch along on the Facebook or YouTube live streams right throughout the morning. Time to get to the news headlines on this Wednesday, the 10th of November. And we will start with the story that's coming out of the eastern states, out of Victoria this morning, regarding the future of a senior Carlton player that is in doubt as he has refused so far, and he's got some time up his sleeve still because the deadline hasn't arrived, but he's refused so far to get vaccinated against COVID. He will become the first AFL men's player to follow the lead of Danny Van Hagen and refuse to get the jab, and therefore there's real question marks about whether he can continue to play. He hasn't been named by the Herald Sun, who have gone to print with this story. He could be put on the inactive list, which is the path they went down with Danny Van Hagen. He could be sacked. The AFL set a February 18 deadline for players to get double vaccinated, which is later than the Victorian state government's November 26 deadline for all workers.
It's going to be interesting too to see how the AFL deal with the broader issue of leadership and staffing and everything else. Because if you're going to tell all the players that they have to do it, then surely it follows that all people working in admin and everybody sitting on a board, you can't to. Yeah,
is it not the case?
I'm not sure. We mentioned that on air a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued as to how it's going to happen.
I just perhaps naively assumed that one would follow the other.
You'd think so. But this guy, he's not playing next year if he doesn't do it.
Yeah. Well, he's got some time to be convinced, but I just wonder, what are you waiting for? If you've got to November 10 and you're saying no, what in the next 2 months is going to
You'd think
get
the people who
line?
are now still saying no are almost, irretrievable. They've gone so far to that side that you're not going to turn them around.
A family friend of the man accused of abducting Cleo Smith has spoken out as WA police ramp up their search at the home where the little girl was found. Detectives are focusing on a car parked in the driveway of the Carnarvon house. Barbara Graham believes someone else was involved.
There would be, because he haven't got the know-how about to do things. He would have had someone there to show him what to do and where to go and what all these things, Because
that is what that woman said. I reckon is 100% right. Like, since the details started to emerge of what a weirdo this bloke is and how out of sorts he is with normal society, I've just been struggling to work out how he managed to do this Mission Impossible style middle of the night baby snatch when he looks like he's clearly not the full quid. So it's just the weirdest story.
Yeah. It feels like there's a lot we don't know still about the circumstances around her kidnapping. This is really promising, and there's some great data in the Australian this morning that I read too about this sort of treatment. There's a new pill designed to help stop people contracting COVID, and it's been cleared. Well, it's cleared the first hurdle for use in Australia. The Therapeutic Goods Administration has given AstraZeneca the go-ahead to apply for provisional registration of the treatment. God, that sounds like a lot of paperwork. The medication is designed to stop virus cells entering the body. There's a host of these oral treatments that sound like pills and things you can take now that do an incredibly effective job in preventing the worst-case scenarios developing, which means going to hospital or dying, obviously. And a lot of this stuff looks really promising. The latest...
one thing I was thinking about those athletes, have any of them ever had cortisone injections?
Oh, the stuff that gets put into athletes.
Yeah, but do they stop and say, hang on, I just need to read up on this first? And because I'm sure you could find a website, The Truth About Cortisone.
Oh, well,
who knows if Bill Gates isn't secretly behind cortisone?
But you've started it. You might be the godfather of the Gates cortisone theory now.
Well, it's out there now.
Yeah.
That's how these things start. Someone set up a Facebook page.
The latest Climate Change Performance Index has Australia ranked 58th out of 64 countries, 4 positions worse than last year. The annual report unveiled at the UN Climate Summit has also ranked Australia last when it comes to climate policies. So they weren't particularly impressed with our performance over there at COP26.
No. Well, I just looking forward to this conference ending and getting more into the sphere of tangible, meaningful policies that are actually aimed at reducing the pressure on the environment. It's just a huge orgy of grandstanding, that thing, wasn't it?
Oh, it's like performance art.
Yeah.
And history has proven the best artists don't necessarily go back home and get any sort of result.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. You get applauded at the conference
by the Federated Actors Guild.
Exactly. An international group of scientists has warned the world is heading towards disastrous levels of global warming. Even if the short-term goals agreed at the summit in Glasgow are achieved, the Climate Action Tracker analyses measures taken by governments to tackle the problem, and there's a view that the target of keeping the rise in temperatures to 1.5 degrees Celsius will not be met. Charges have been laid over 2 fatal car crashes at a fatal 2-car crash at Birkenhead. It happened on the 17th of October at the corner of Semaphore and Fletcher Roads. An 80-year-old woman died at the scene. A 32-year-old Woodville West man was arrested last night and will front court today.
Hey, we should stop to and reflect on the passing of Keith Bradshaw. We had Keith on the show a few times. I met him a couple of times socially. I don't think you'd find a nicer man, and to his family. He sounds like a great family man. We extend our thoughts. Extremely sad. And he was a trailblazer. You know, every time we go down to that oval and you go, how good is it? And I know we have the silly on and off again argument about, should there be an extra stand at the northern end and so forth. But it's just a great place.
Totally.
And it's a million times better than it was prior to the Saka vote, in which he played a hugely important part in arriving soon after that vote and saying, right, let's just rip into this. And the first non-English person ever to be the manager of Lords. What a huge accolade.
Yeah, remarkable.
Yeah.
And just the loveliest bloke you could possibly meet.
Yeah.
Just a
really
genuinely good human being.
This is where, we're getting about, theological the other day, talking to that priest after Cleo was found. This is where I really struggle with the idea of an all-powerful, all-loving God, because sometimes he's a pretty poor shot. And I think about guys like Keith, and I think a lot about Bob Ford.
Yeah.
Well, me and a mate, we were meant to be having lunch with him 2 days after he died, and I just think, geez, he was such a good person. And there's plenty of scumbags walking around, like, the people we meet every morning at 6:45, courtesy of Sapole. You think, why do all these good people get taken so soon? How does that fit in with the special plan?
Makes it hard to pass. But he was a terrific guy, a wonderful person. There were some lovely tributes that did fly yesterday too, from all corners of the globe. Stephen Fry, I saw tweeting about what a wonderful person he was and how shocked and saddened he was by the news.
Yeah.
23 minutes after 6. The weather today, it's going to be a top of 20, perhaps a mil of rain around the place. Tomorrow's when the rain seriously comes in, though. Just the top of 19 tomorrow and possibly up to 10 mils of rain. Friday, 17 with up to 4 mils. Get used to that amount of rain, because Saturday, 17 and 4 mils. Sunday, 17 and 6 mils. Monday, 17, and there might still be a drizzle around the place. Tuesday, 19, might be the first day over the next 4 or 5 that we get that doesn't have any rain in it.
It's days and days of rain, isn't it?
Yeah, it's remarkable.
See, I don't mind the rain, but I like a gap. You want to be able to get out and do a good 2 hours in the backyard while all this rain's going on.
This might be
when the gap's going to happen.
This might be the last soak. You might have to start getting into the regular routine of watering after this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
24 minutes after 6.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours, and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
Hey, it's Callum here. When it comes to servicing your family's vehicles, Edwardstown Mazda's 1-hour quick smart service is definitely the way to go, especially for busy people. And who isn't busy nowadays? Edwardstown Mazda's 1 hour express service.
Now, you might think it's hard to get excited about shelving. It ain't.
No.
Not when you're talking about Sharman Shelving.
No, Sharman Shelving is innately exciting. Any time is a good time to get in touch with Sharman Shelving and to get your workshop fitted out.
From workbenches, shelving cabinets, tool trolleys, open angle shelving, stainless steel benches, steel cupboards, even van and cool room shelving, Sharman Shelving can literally do anything, including made to measure.
Jump onto their website and take a look, or visit their Facebook page. You'll be blown away with what the team at Sharman Shelving can do, and they make the whole process so easy.
So if you're in business, Sharman Shelving should be your first go-to for a workshop fit-out because the possibilities are endless. Ask Christine or Bill for a free measure and quote, then jump online, sharmanshelving.com.au or call into 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens.
We reimagine the security of today. Innovative solutions that improve safety, create value, and accelerate business growth. For now and well into the future. Wilson Security. Innovating security for tomorrow.
G'day, it's Rowie with Eddie May from NRG Solar. Now, Eddie, why is now the best time to buy solar?
Thanks, Rowie. Government rebates will fall at the end of December. So if you act now, we can install your system in 2021 and you can save an additional $500 to $800 on a typical system, which is a considerable saving. The person who waits another year to decide to get solar will lose thousands of dollars.
Hey, thanks, Eddie. So go solar now and save. For more info, simply visit nrgsolar.com.au.
If you run a small business, then you know how the busy got in business. You have to juggle so many apps, different tools and spreadsheets just to take care of admin. That's why you need Thrive, the all-in-one management software built for small business. Thrive lets you manage marketing, scheduling, invoicing and more, all from one place. Search Thrive, Thrive, today.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
27 minutes after 6. Don't forget the lyrics coming up after 6:30. Your chance to get along to the Carols Nord Concert Hall. Not too far away. Everything, the end of the year's not too far away now.
No.
Tom Rehn in the studio with us to talk sport in the meantime. Save it to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers, Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. Morning, David. Boys, I was lucky enough to go to the premiere of the James Bond movie last night, Daniel Craig starring
cool. Was it
again.
good?
It was very good, yeah. Had a lot of fun. Down at Marion, it was really good, actually. But it got me thinking, there was a great villain in it last night, as there always is in the Bond films. And I reckon as important as James Bond himself is the role of the villain. And it got me thinking, in sport, we need villains as well. Who have some of the great villains been, or who are they at the moment? I reckon in AFL, Toby Green is probably...
Toby Green's the villain.
He's the villain?
Yeah, I think that's...
is he ever?
Yep, that's a great
one.
Oh,
actually, what about DeGoey?
Yeah,
allegedly.
You know what? I don't want my sporting villains to perhaps be real life villains.
Yeah.
Well, he feels like one.
Yeah, I kind of prefer your villainy to be for what's happened on the field of endeavour.
I prefer Toby Green over DeGoey.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
I think Green's flawed but likeable.
Yeah.
Is that too generous an assessment?
No, that's a good one. And another one that I sort of thought falls into that classic villain is John McEnroe.
Yes, yeah.
He's your classic villain. And happy to be the villain.
I would love to have dinner with John McEnroe.
I tell you who's a villain now, today. Novak Djokovic is a villain.
He's a villain, but I don't think he wants to be.
He doesn't want to be.
But he is.
He's a great villain. He's become a villain.
He is a villain. But I think a really good villain is someone who embraces it and says, you know what?
Yeah, I'm happy to be hated.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
That's why, well, historically in the SANFL, there's no greater villain than David Granger. Like, he was utterly terrifying. And you think about the Port Glenelg prelim, hearing Cornsey and hearing Peter Maynard talk about that, even the weather on that day, they said it was like this sudden pall of black cloud came over the ground at Football Park and people were, screaming and women were crying. But Granger, a bit like what you've just said about Djokovic, he feels like, and a lot of people really close to him feel the same way, that he was fitted up and used as the villain, almost deployed as the villain.
Mm.
And he's a guy who's been tormented by his past. Probably the greatest villain in history. And I can't remember his name off the top of his head. It was a Brazilian goalie in 1952 when they lost the World Cup to Uruguay at home, 1-0. And after that, he went and lived in a cave, the goalkeeper.
Mm.
And he became a total recluse, like a hermit. And he tried to sort of reconcile with the national team, and he turned up at national training in the 1970s. Barbosa, that's right, thanks Andy. And the coach went over to him and said, "You have to leave, you're cursed."
Wow.
They take their football pretty seriously
20
in Brazil.
years later.
Getting some suggestions on the Telstra Stormount Barker text line. Mark from Perils has asked Port supporters, Eddie Maguire, villain.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Nick says Jacques Villeneuve, villain. There's been plenty in Formula One, actually.
Yeah, and in baseball there's been a lot. Billy Buckner was unfortunately cursed with the 86 World Series, which was very unfair.
Speaking of 86 too, what about Maradona?
Yep.
The Poms would say he's the greatest villain
Hand
ever
of
played
God.
football.
Hand of God.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys. Good
Great
stuff.
topic.
We could have spent the next hour talking about that.
Right on 6:30, 5AA News Time.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 20 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
A special billion-dollar fund will be established to help start-up business develop new low-emissions technology. Half the money will be distributed through the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, and the other half will come from the private sector. It's the next phase in the federal government's push to become carbon neutral by 2050. Australia has been listed among the worst performing countries in a major international comparison of climate change policies. Nine's UK correspondent Brett McLeod reports.
While Scott Morrison was in Glasgow last week boasting of his government's commitment to net zero emissions by 2050, a new study puts Australia in a very different light. Climate Action Tracker, a scientific analysis of government policy, says Australia's plan is not credible, lacks significant detail, and adds there is currently no national plan for transitioning to renewable energy. In a gloomy outlook in the final days of the COP26 Climate Change Summit, it calculates that currently the world is heading for 2.4 degrees of warming by the end of the century, far more than the 1.5 limit nations have committed to.
A Victorian man will front court today following a crash near Gawler. The 28-year-old was allegedly behind the wheel of a stolen Kia Carnival involved in the smash on the Northern Expressway around 7 last night. The car had been tracked by police after it crossed the border near Yamba 2.5 hours earlier. Australia is now growing enough avocados to not need to rely on imports, but that doesn't mean it's an end to foreign fruit. Farm expansion and new crops coming into production has seen a massive increase in the number of avocados being grown here. Avocados Australia's John Tyus says it means we no longer need to rely on New Zealand to ensure supply 12 months of the year.
The Australian industry has really responded to that demand in spring and summer and planted a lot of trees. Those trees are now coming to fruition, and so it's time that New Zealand really needs to start looking at developing their other export markets.
Investigations are continuing into the death of 8 people at the Astro World Music Festival in Houston, Texas. Nine's Alison Petrowski has more.
A number of attendees have spoken out saying the festival was a death trap, as investigators now look into whether a batch of counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl played a role in the mass casualty event. Darius Williams was one of hundreds of security guards hired days before the festival and claims his role was vague and that organisers were woefully unprepared.
I would say there was probably one security guard for every 500 to 1,000 people, severely understaffed.
A 9-year-old boy remains in a medically induced coma.
A mistake at an American fertility clinic has seen 2 families forced to trade babies. The clinic is being accused of implanting the wrong embryos into 2 women. They found out after months of raising the children. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And COVID and sport is back in the headlines, Tom Rehn.
Not for the first time, Mel, and that is Carlton that is being thrust into the spotlight this time, with a story breaking last night that a men's player is refusing to be vaccinated against COVID. The club has officially refused to comment at this stage, but he's reportedly aware of the situation and will continue to monitor it, with players set to return to pre-season training over the coming month. Let's go to cricket. Glenn Maxwell has urged Australia's top order to make an early statement if they're forced to beat the curse of batting first in their 2020 semi-final against an unbeaten Pakistan. Maxwell has faced just 15 balls since finishing the last 2 games at the non-strikers end without being required to bat in Australia's wins. But he's not fussed by a lack of time in the middle because it means the top order's going well.
I've done so much work at training and I've been here for 2 and a bit months. I know the conditions really well. It doesn't matter if I haven't batted for a few days or whatnot. I feel like I'm still in that headspace of where I was during the IPL, where I was hitting the ball really cleanly and feel ready to play whatever role I need to.
Meantime, England skipper Owen Morgan admits it will be tough to beat New Zealand in their T20 World Cup semi-final given their number of injuries. 5 key players will be missing from England's squad. And Sam Kerr has played a starring role for Chelsea in this morning's Champions League clash, scoring twice as they thumped Swiss side Servette 7-0. The result lifts her side to top spot in their group. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hereford recliners, handcrafted for your ultimate comfort. Call 1300 114 118.
A partly cloudy Wednesday on the way with a top of 20. Showers tomorrow 19. The showers will continue Friday 17. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24-7, Vincent McAviney before 7 o'clock. We'll be off to the UK with the latest from Europe. Now, we're going to play Don't Forget the Lyrics here. And we got a terrific prize. This is an absolute cracker. The prize is to go along to the Christmas event Night at the Carols featuring James Morrison, and a whole host of 5AA personalities are going to be there as well. Friday the 26th of November, Nord Concert Hall. You generally have to buy tickets unless you win Don't Forget the Lyrics, which, if you'd like to contest, you can call in right now on 8223 0055. It's a Carols night with a difference too, because there is going to be a choir, and it's a choir comprised of 5AA listeners, which you can be a part of too, but you need to go to the 5AA website, 5AA.com.au, hit the win page and register your details that way. Now, Andy, during the news, came in and gave us a dressing down about Don't Forget the Lyrics.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He said...
I wasn't here.
No, well, I got the dressing down. The lyric needs to be sung. We're not going to do this walk us through the lyric thing. You got to sing the lyric.
William Shatner style spoken word.
Well, if you did it William Shatner style, I'd say that's different.
Yeah, okay.
If you really give it the full Shatner flourish. But don't just sort of...
So we want people to have a crack.
Want a bit of gusto to win the ticket. We're going on to a night at the Carols. Is a night of fun. We're in a room full of really fun, singing, vibrant, energetic sort of people.
In my defence, I thought I was uncharacteristically vigilant yesterday when that woman didn't even know a single word.
You were.
Sorry.
I was worried about you.
I know.
I thought you were having a bad day. I was expecting you just to give her the tickets. Oh, yeah, you made a sound. Close enough.
You grunted.
8223 0055.
Actual singing, folks, is what we're after.
Don't forget the lyrics. This one, I'm told, is a traditional carol. Carol.
I'd never heard yesterday's.
Today's traditional carol will be sung in part by Carl from Gawler. Carl, good morning.
Good morning. How you going?
Good, thanks, Carl. You feeling confident?
Well, I used to sing in a choir, so I don't know if that helps.
Well, you got a bit of an edge then. That's good.
All right, Carl.
Might be able to sing in our choir.
Exactly right. You just need to complete this lyric. Oh my God! That was the greatest win in the history of Don't Forget the Lyrics. Here it is. Sing it with Carl.
How did you get up that high, Carl?
Carl.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to work hard for that one.
That was extraordinary, though, mate. Like, you nailed every note. That was brilliant. Is that your range, or were you having a real crack then?
I do have a pretty good range. As I said, I used to sing in a choir, so that probably helped.
You sounded like that Welsh choir boy, Alan Jones, who sang P.A. Yezu. That was extraordinary.
Oh, that's a compliment. I'll take that one.
He was a very good singer, wasn't he?
That felt like sort of, being at the ground when Shane Warne takes a hat-trick.
Yeah.
Or that was like seeing the Gadding Ball live.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the greatest moment in the history of Don't Forget the Lyrics.
You pulled a similar face to Mike Gadding when Carl was singing.
I was just stunned.
Screwed up your face.
I just went, too good.
Unbelievable.
Too good.
What happened then?
Well
done, mate. We'll see you on the night.
Congratulations to you, Carl. I got to gather myself because I was not expecting that. That was just
superb.
tremendous. The event is, of course, Night at the Carols. Get your tickets from Try Booking. Try Booking. That's where you get your tickets. Night at the Carols, 26th of November. It's a Friday night.
We got some cracking texts here as well. We started the show talking about how there is a Santa shortage, a Father Christmas shortage. You always try to use the full term, Father Christmas. I'm a stickler for that, although sometimes we do accidentally say Santa. But we noted that there's a Santa shortage, but there's an oversupply of lawyers, and perhaps there was an opportunity for people in the law
a redistribution
to move into Father Christmasing. Nick from Manningham, I love this text. If a lawyer becomes a Santa, would that make him a legal clause?
Yes, I think so.
That's terrific. Joe says, talking about Father Christmas, why do I still have to wear masks for the Christmas Santa photos? Surely my daughter's first Santa photo, we can go maskless. I mean, you could always go to Queensland.
Yes.
If there's Father Christmases up there.
You can do all sorts in Queensland now.
Yeah, that's right. And speaking of the robocalls, we're keen to hear, folks, if any of you got them last night. Sally says, I got the robocall last week. I live in Golden Grove. I didn't mind answering the questions, but it went on for so long I ended up hanging up after 5 minutes of questioning. And Rick in Aldinga Beach says, good morning, gents. I see SA Health have done it again. Schoolies has given the go-ahead COVID style with masks, but we still can't be trusted to stand and drink, can't dance, must wear masks, because we can't be trusted, but apparently you can trust 17 to 18-year-olds. They've lost me. I have no problem with schoolies, just this other rubbish to keep us safe from what? No cases for over 100 days. Thanks for that, Rick.
I tell you, that robocall's the definition of optimism, thinking you're going to get people sitting on the phone for more than 5 minutes to answer questions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Still interested in talking to anyone that got the call last night. I want to tease out where this one came from. 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. We'll check traffic for the first time this morning. Do you have an existing BMW service inclusive package? Well, you can book your next service at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. At Henley Beach, urgent civil works, Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. Kent Town, those water main works continue to Kettleville Terrace near Rundle Street. Speeds reduced down to 40 there. Myrtle Bank, slow going this morning for those asphalt works. That's Crossroad between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. Look out for detours and restrictions in place. And got a few cameras around the place today too. Port Road at Cheltenham, Barnett Road, Evanston, Anglevale Road, Evanston Gardens. Right now to Porto, get a delicious pita pocket with 2 crispy chicken strips, coleslaw, regular chips and a $3.90 drink for just $9.95. Order in store or take away now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
If you're going to test drive a new car, taking it around the block a few times, it's just not enough. So take a proper test drive at Jarvis Toyota Clovelly Park. The all-new Land Cruiser 300 boasts enhanced luxury and technology, making it a pleasure to drive both on and off-road. With a brand new 3.3-litre twin-turbo V6 diesel engine, it's the most powerful diesel Land Cruiser yet. Rediscover the road and take a proper test drive in the new Land Cruiser 300 at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park. Proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
Wouldn't it be nice if talking to your loved ones about mental health was as easy as making a nice cuppa? Fleurieu Milk Company has partnered with Breakthrough to raise money for mental health research. Throughout November, Fleurieu Milk Company are donating 50 cents from every 2-litre farm fresh milk to Breakthrough. So let's get behind them and drive change. Look for the purple label and help make a difference. Search Breakthrough to learn more about their powerful research.
At IGA, you'll get everything you need this Christmas. Like Steggles 1 kilo frozen turkey breast roast, $15 each. IGA, where Christmas is made special for locals. Offer ends November 16. Participating IGA stores only. Excludes IGA Express and local grocer.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you'll receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
South Australia's public hospitals are at breaking point. Doctors are grappling with excessive workloads and high levels of fatigue in an under-resourced system that's struggling to meet patient demand. And that's before any COVID impact after the borders open. Our doctors need a safe workplace with the time and resources to safely care for you and your loved ones. Tell Premier Marshall it's time to care for our doctors and for the health of all South Australians. Authorised by Dr. Laura Willington, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers, Adelaide.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
14 to 7, Tessa and Paraka on the Telstra Stormy Barker text line says, oh my God, I hear the literal angels singing. No, Tessa, it was just Carl.
Carl from Gawler.
Carl from Gawler with the voice of an angel. Don't forget the lyrics a little bit earlier. Let's check it with SAPOL, Senior Constable Matt Brown's on the line. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're well. Now, police have arrested a bloke that crashed a stolen car in Gawler.
That's right. The collision occurred on the Northern Expressway at about 7 p.m. Last night. It would be alleged that the driver of the stolen car ran off from the scene and was quickly apprehended by patrols a few streets away. And this is out at Bushveld on the Northern Expressway. The driver of the other car, a 26-year-old man, was injured in the crash and was airlifted to hospital. Now, his injury is not believed to be life-threatening, but police deployed various resources along the highway to try and stop the stolen car after it had crossed the border near Yamba about 5:30 p.m. And Pol Air was used as well to track the vehicle. And the 28-year-old Victorian man was soon arrested and charged with driving dangerously to cause a police pursuit, illegal use of a motor vehicle and numerous other traffic offences. He didn't apply for bail and will appear in the Adelaide Magistrates Court later today. But we're still appealing for witnesses or anyone who might have captured a Kia Carnival travelling on the Sturt Highway or Northern Expressway, maybe on the dash cam of your car. If you could check that for us, and please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Matt, also very sad news out of the Barossa Valley last night with 2 people losing their lives in a car crash.
That's right, David. Very sad news. About 4:45 p.m. yesterday, police and emergency services were called to Trig Point Hill Road out at Anguston after a ute had crashed and rolled. And sadly, the driver, a 41-year-old Parafield Gardens man, and his passenger, a 35-year-old Elizabeth South man, were both pronounced deceased at the scene. Trig Point Hill Road was closed to all traffic near Tanunda Creek Road, but has since reopened. And major crash investigators attended the scene and are investigating the cause of the collision. So the 2 men's deaths are take the amount of lives lost on the state's roads to 86, which is 12 more than this time last year in 2020. So very sad news.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Matt.
Good on you, Matt. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. Let's talk about the weather. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Geez, it's going to get wet over the next few days, Simon.
Good morning, guys. It certainly is, and a little bit wet in the Adelaide area, but very wet over sort of northern and western parts of the state as the complex low pressure system moves across the north. So, I expect we'll see some significant rainfall totals, particularly sort of to the northwest of Whyalla or thereabouts, up over the northwest pastoral and maybe into adjacent parts of Eyre Peninsula and the West Coast District. Very wet conditions, and across the far north of the state too. But even for Adelaide here, we've had a couple of showers go through earlier this morning. I think we should be mostly dry for the rest of the day, but a few spots around the hills, particularly the northeastern hills, picking up a few millimetres up towards the Barossa Valley and Mount Crawford there. A number of places sort of picked up 3 to 6 millimetres or so, up to a couple of millimetres around the Lobethal area. The hills a little bit closer to Adelaide, just a fraction of a millimetre, 0.2 of a millimetre at Mount Lofty and Crafers, 0.6 of a millimetre at Ashton. Over the plains, it's been mostly dry. And as I said, I think for the rest of the day we'll see plenty of cloud around, but mostly dry, I think, here for the Adelaide area. Temperature-wise, we're sitting on 12.9 degrees in the city at the moment, not much above our overnight minimum of 12.5 at about 10 to 3 this morning. And our maximum forecast for today, 20 degrees for the city, A little bit cooler around the suburbs, 16 degrees for Mount Barker, 19 for Noarlunga, 20 degrees for Glenelg, 21 degrees for Elizabeth. And the winds persisting from the southeast today. Be pretty fresh at times, particularly around the hills and the foothills there, I think. Thursday, probably our wettest day here. I think we'll see a high chance of showers around on Thursday, most likely during the afternoon and the evening. And again, southeasterly winds tomorrow. Again, pretty fresh at times, probably a little bit windier than today. A temperature for Thursday, 19 degrees. Showers still hanging around for Friday, 17 degrees. Pretty cool day, and those cool conditions continuing into the weekend as well. Further showers for Saturday, 17 degrees, and then showers easing on Sunday, 17 degrees as well. So quite a cool spell on the way with a fair few showers around.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Simon Tempe, senior forecaster at the Weather Bureau. More texts coming in on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. Jenny in Summerton Park says, morning team. My sister in Adelaide got a call last night and hung up too after 5 minutes. She didn't know where it was going and couldn't work out who it was from. Family first makes sense now. That's not confirmed, Jenny. That's us trying to tease out from the details we know at this point. It sounds perhaps that way, unless we hear some evidence to the contrary. Carol says, I got a robocall Monday night at dinner time. Really? I hung up straight away. Well, that's just rude.
Yeah, the timing's... You can try to convince people to vote for you.
Well, maybe that's why they don't put any identifying features on the call.
Yeah.
You'd be smarter booking in robocalls, saying you're from the other party and making them call at really inconvenient times.
Yeah, like at 6:30am or something.
See?
Well, the Liberals tried that themselves a few years ago by mistake.
Self-sabotage. It's unlike the South Australian Liberals.
Our segment with Tom's gone off, inspired by him seeing the latest Bond film last night. He asked, who were your favourite sporting villains? We had quite a few grave dangers, but quite varied. Mark in Para Hills, as you said, Will, he suggested Eddie McGuire because of the footy jumper stuff. Nick said Jacques Villeneuve. Can't remember what he did.
The Formula 1
driver. I don't know what his crime was. Brad from Granith says, hey, Pembo, what about John Wynne? The Norwood player who got into the Jack 80 box, the 78 granny. Yeah, all right. I'm put me down as a yes. Brad from One Tree Hill says Jardine, captain of the Bodyline series, and at Larwood.
That's a good one.
First name Larwood, Harold.
Harold Larwood.
Harold Larwood, yeah. And Greg says, ask any Kiwi. They'd say the Chapel. They'd say Greg Chappell.
Oh, that's good.
For putting his little brother Trev up to it. Geez, I can remember watching that live, and I remember exactly where I was. Bob and Dorothy Burt's house in Victor Harbour, and it was one of the first times I ever heard an adult swear. It was Bob, and he said, "You are blanking kidding."
Yeah, it wasn't particularly popular here either.
Australia said
7 to 7.
Your e-commerce business moves fast, and with the Christmas rush almost here, you need a cash flow solution that's built for you. You need Octet, finance that powers online retailers to scale up when sales are booming. With Octet's trade finance, you get access to a convenient line of credit to stock up during peak periods, and there's no need for personal asset security. Visit Octet.com. That's OCTET.com. T's and C's apply, including Octet's facility approval guidelines.
At Swan Security, we've been keeping Australian homes safe for over 30 years, and we're #1 for do-it-yourself CCTV and video security. Swan has a complete lineup from wireless cameras and doorbells to complete multi-camera wide systems, all viewable and controllable from your mobile phone. And you can see the complete range of Swan's smart home security products now at Bunnings Warehouse. So turn your home sweet home into a home safe home with Swan Security from Bunnings Warehouse.
At Hyundai Nailsworth, the great people there know that life gets busy, and if it's not work, then it's running the kids around to sport or picking up the grandchildren, maybe doing the Christmas shopping. And of course, that's right, because this time of year things really ramp up. And that's why at Hyundai Nailsworth, they'd like to give you a bit of downtime, something you can really enjoy, and they call it your life experience. Now, what it means is instead of going in there and just borrowing a car for 10 minutes driving around the block, you can actually take the car away for some significant time and do some living in it, lead your life normally. Now, I was lucky enough to slide into one of their fantastic Palisades. That car was an absolute treat to drive, available in the 7 or the 8-seat model. But the good thing is the life experience. This is the thing that they're pushing at the moment, where you get to choose what your life experience will be. Adventure, family fun, a romantic getaway, maybe a health and wellness treatment. Buy any new Hyundai from Hyundai Nailsworth and choose your personal life experience. Some T's and C's apply. And of course, this is only available from the excellent people at Hyundai Nailsworth, home of the Life Drive.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 to 7, Brenton in Nova Gardens has called in with a sporting villain. Brenton, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm going back a long way, but you only have to say the name. Wally May.
Wally May.
Wally May.
One day I was at Unley Oval, North playing Sturt. A North player dropped a Sturt player in front of me. I was down in the forward pocket area. And Wally May was in the back pocket. And Wally came all the way down the ground, dropped the North Adelaide player, and then went all the way back to the back pocket.
Left the scene of the crime. Brenton, thank you.
So walking all the way from one end of Unley Oval to the other and then back again, it's about 80 metres.
An era of sporting villainy where sporting villainy involved just assaulting people.
Yeah, you get away with it then.
Yeah, that's right.
Good morning.
So, Vincent, we're having a lot of debate here because we've found that by industry, there's some sort of public sort of facing jobs like health in particular, and most obviously where it's been mandated that everybody in health jobs needs to have had the jab. Others, though, are confused. Hospitality is saying they want clarity around it. Is it a similar sort of landscape in the UK?
Well, all 4 nations in the UK are taking different approaches because we divide when it comes to health services. So what's happening this week in England is that earlier in the week it became mandatory for all care workers, so people out in the community and people in care homes, to have the vaccine. Some people still refused and they have now left their jobs, but it was already an area of the economy that was understaffed and was crying out for employees. So that's going to put more pressure on that system. And today the Health Secretary has said that the NHS in England, at least, will make it mandatory. It's not coming in until next year, but they will also then have the option of, if they refuse the vaccine, they will have to leave. But it comes at a time where just in England there are over 90,000 vacancies within the NHS. They are crying out for staff. So there are some concerns that this might leave the NHS even further understaffed.
Has any decision been made yet on other jobs in the public sector, like policing or ambulance drivers?
Nothing there. I mean, ambulance drivers are covered by the NHS, so they will be included within that provision. But when it comes to police, there's no real discussions about that one yet. And, if you look at other countries, they've mandated that all federal workers, like in America, anyone that's got on a federal contract had to do it. We haven't seen that kind of move yet in the UK, but there is, and the public support has shown that there is strong support for at least mandating that all healthcare workers at least have had the vaccination. And of course, there are other vaccines that are compulsory within the NHS. This isn't something that is new. You have to have, things like hepatitis vaccines and everything else to work in the NHS. So this is something that is seen as part and parcel of the job.
Hey, Vincent, we're seeing reports this morning that various countries across mainland continental Europe are reintroducing some restrictions as a result of another wave of COVID. What's the feeling on the ground in London at the moment?
Well, I think the UK is very much on a course out of the pandemic. We were the first nation to greenlight the other day the Merck pill for COVID treatment, which we know cuts hospitalisation and death by about 50%. And of course, then the day after that, the Pfizer pill announced its results. The UK is in line to buy some of that as well. And that is up as much as 90% cut in the rates of death and hospitalisation. So the UK is thinking very much that continue the pressure to get the vaccine rollout going, to get people taking up the boosters, and then once those pills are in place within the health service, then really there is no going back to how things were.
Well, that's some good news. Vincent, thank you. Really appreciate it. Vincent McAviney, our UK correspondent. At 7 o'clock, 5AA News Time. After 7, we'll talk more about the situation developing at the Carlton Football Club, a well-known and loved suburban light show in Adelaide that's under threat. And also Diana Ross. It's all coming up.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 20 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
A man has been arrested after crashing a stolen car near Gawler. The collision occurred on the Northern Expressway around 7 last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the Kia Carnival was being tracked by Road and Air.
Police deployed various resources along the highway to try and stop the stolen car after it had crossed the border near Yamba about 5:30 p.m. and Pol Air was used as well to track the vehicle.
The 28-year-old Victorian driver is expected to front court today. The driver of the other car, a 26-year-old man, was injured and airlifted to hospital. His injuries are not life-threatening. A $1 billion fund will be established to help bring low-emissions technologies to market. Nine's Michael Packy has the story.
Start-up businesses developing low-emissions technology would be given federal support to commercialise their product. The Clean Energy Finance Corporation will be given a $500 million boost to help fund projects, and another $500 million would come from the private sector. Among the initiatives that could be bankrolled is carbon capture and storage, as well as livestock feed, which cuts methane gases. The formation of the special fund would need to be legislated, setting up a battle with the federal opposition, who may not agree with projects likely to get taxpayer cash.
There are growing calls for greater transparency about a controversial Commonwealth grants program. Documents obtained under Freedom of Information show the Commuter Car Parks Initiative is almost $100 million over budget. But despite some data being released, 92 of the 157 pages requested were redacted. Independent Senator Rex Patrick says secrecy will be the government's downfall.
This government needs to be more transparent. More and more, we're seeing secrecy enveloping our public service and the government, and it builds mistrust, which I think will ultimately hurt them at the polls.
A new study of kids with cancer and COVID has revealed most only suffer mild illness. Nine's Christy Sullivan has the story.
Researchers studied 131 children under the age of 19 who had cancer or had undergone a bone marrow stem cell transplant. They found 87% of those only had mild COVID symptoms. But those with underlying health conditions, severe infections and low white blood cell counts were more likely to end up severely unwell. Associate Professor at the Murdoch Children's Research Institute, Gabrielle Heusler, says almost half of all infections were picked up in the family home.
And that really highlights the importance of vaccination of all family members and household contacts to really provide that cocoon of support around the patient.
In 95% of cases, the patients made a full recovery. The study was conducted last year before Delta became the most prominent strain of the virus.
And there are tributes today for Dean Stockwell, the former child actor who later appeared in a string of movies, including Beverly Hills Cop, Married to the Mob and Blue Velvet, has passed away from natural causes, aged 85. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Here's Tom Rehn.
Thank you, Mel. The Adelaide Strikers have chalked up their third win in the WBBL after beating the Sydney Thunder by 18 runs at Karen Rolton Oval. And they'll come up against the Sydney Sixers at Karen Rolton Oval a little later today. Meantime, the Redbacks will take on Tasmania in their Sheffield Shield clash starting today in Hobart. But it could be difficult to get much action with plenty of rain forecast. Well, Tennis Australia is paying tribute to wheelchair tennis icon Dylan Alcott as he prepares for the final tournament of his career. The Paralympian will retire from professional sport after January's Australian Open. Tennis Australia boss Craig Tiley says Alcott is a legend of the game.
15 Grand Slam titles, 8 Grand Slam doubles titles, 4 gold medals, and then to top it off in 2020, wins every single Grand Slam, wins the gold medal. Everything he plays, he wins.
Tosoko Matilda's captain Sam Kerr has scored twice in 2 minutes to help Chelsea to a 7-0 thrashing of Swiss club Servette in the Champions League. Meantime, the Socceroos will hold their final training session this afternoon. That's ahead of tomorrow night's World Cup qualifier against Saudi Arabia in Parramatta. The NBA's reigning MVP Nikola Jokic is facing a suspension after being ejected in Denver's game against Miami. He sparked a scuffle when shoulder-charging Markieff Morris in the back. And UFC stars Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler have expressed interest in fighting after an exchange over Twitter. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you have an existing BMW service inclusive package? You can book your next service at Glenelg BMW.
At Henley Beach this morning, look out for some urgent sewer works. That's on Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. Also slow going this morning at Myrtle Bank. That's due to those continuing asphalt works, crossroad between Fullerton Road and Glen Osborne Road. And also look out for a few delays around Crayfus and Stirling. Those speed restrictions on the freeway still applying for both directions. Got cameras Days Road, Croydon Park and Eastern Parade at Otway. The King end of year sale is on now. Save up to 50% on Australian design indoor and outdoor furniture. Visit the King Keswick showroom or shop online, kingliving.com today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hereford Recliners, handcrafted for your ultimate comfort. Call 1300 114 118.
A top of 20 today, but partly cloudy. Showers tomorrow 19, then down to 17 on Friday with showers continuing. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
There's nothing left, all gone and run away.
7 after 7, few late entries for sporting villain Lance Armstrong. Dave Lloyd,
yes.
We're getting some on the Telstra Storm Barker text line. Remiss of us not to mention in the first hour of the program. We're on the lookout for a working Father Christmas, or maybe a retired Father Christmas, or indeed an aspiring Father Christmas. There's a national shortage of them. If you fit any of those three categories, we'd love to hear from you this morning. 8223 is the number. Also, there's a group of people on the lookout for those that live in the St. Peter's area. The 9th Avenue Christmas lights display that takes place in St. Peter's is a cracker. It's fantastic. Sets at thousands upon thousands of people each and every year.
I thought you'd be a Pelham Street guy, Will.
We do them all.
Yeah.
We do
great,
Pelham
aren't they?
Street. We do
Pelham Street.
We do 9th Avenue and we do Labourthal every year.
Really?
Yep. We'll always drive around during December.
Yeah, right.
And do a different one each time. Well, 9th Avenue might not happen this year, and it's because of a total bureaucratic oversight. And it's because of a lack of local knowledge. So everyone there is gearing up for their big Christmas lights display of this year. Yet in the morning earlier this week, on Monday morning this week, there was a letter from the Department of Transport, according to the advertisers reporting today, saying that Stephen Terrace, which is the major access road that gets you there, is going to be resurfaced. You're not going to be able to get there through some pretty important hours of the day. 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. each night, it's going to be closed. 6 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Borrell are doing it, aren't they?
The Borrell are doing it. Now, a Borrell spokesperson says he's advised Borrell had not been told by the department there is a lights display on. So it was just a total stuff up.
And the council is sort of the meat and the sandwich, because the council, it's not a council event, it's a privately staged thing, just done, to its great credit by the community. But the council sound like they've actually gone into bat for the event and have spoken to Borrell and said, look, is there any way you can actually put the foot to the floor and get all this done before the lights start?
We've got a statement this morning from the Department of Transport. They say in regards to the 9th Avenue Christmas lights, the Department for Infrastructure and Transport is reviewing the program of works to maintain access to the popular community event. So hopefully there'll be some good news for them on that front, because it's terrific. These sorts of community-inspired local lights displays are what Christmas is all about.
Yeah.
It makes Adelaide feel Christmassy.
And we missed out on a lot of them last year because of all the all the COVID stuff.
Exactly right.
Coming out of the backdraft of Pizzagate, as we were.
So if you are a 9th Avenue resident or someone in the area that loves the display and you've heard about this, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000 is the number. News breaking this morning out of Victoria with regard to a Carlton player, senior Carlton player, who sounds like he's going to refuse to be vaccinated.
Tonight, at least one Carlton player is yet to be vaccinated and as a result has their football future hanging in the balance. The AFL has confirmed that all players must be double dosed in order to play next year, and if not, either have their contracts terminated or be placed on the inactive list on a minimum wage for the season. At the first deadline late last month, all Victorian clubs except 2 had confirmed all players had received at least 1 dose or were booked to do so. St Kilda has opted not to comment, while Carlton said it would only comment closer to the start of pre-season, despite confirming all of its AFLW players had received at least 1 dose. 7 News has opted not to and chosen not to name the player in question tonight. It comes after Adelaide Premiership player and AFLW star Denny Van Hagen told the Crows she didn't want to be vaccinated and as a result has been placed on the inactive list and will sit out the upcoming AFLW season.
That's Mitch Cleary from 7 News last night. It felt inevitable that this would happen. I mean, the raw numbers across basically every industry in Australia is that there are going to be some holdouts. The AFL, even with the 2 players that we know about, are totally unrepresented. Underrepresented when you consider what it's like in other walks of life. So they'll take heart in that, but still, it poses a massive problem for the Carlton Football Club. There's still some time though. He hasn't
been named.
No,
I just typed that there's a player who everyone is saying that it is rumoured to be.
Yep.
And I just typed his name into Twitter and it's trending.
Well,
which shows that
doesn't make you guilty though.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And yeah, but he's going to be identified sooner rather than later. And just looking at social media where it's all care and no responsibility, people are already out there banning his name around.
Yep. Hey, how about this? Soul icon Dana Ross has confirmed she's going to play Glastonbury.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what they...
awesome.
I didn't know this about...
How old's Diana Ross now?
77.
Good for her.
I didn't know this. They do a legend spot at the internationally famous music festival. She was meant to do it in 2020, but we all know what's happened the last 2 years. It's been called off. So she's going to be playing on the 26th of June next year. The legend spot has attracted always the most number of eyeballs and interest. So 2014, Dolly Parton played. That was the biggest ever audience they've had. Biggest ever was Dolly Parton in 2014. Kylie Minogue in 2019 had the most watched performance ever with 3.9 million people tuning in on the BBC. Other people have been involved in the Legends spot before, which is a sort of they do it at the same moment during the festival each and every year. Lionel Richie's done it, Shirley Bassey, Kenny Rogers and Barry Gibb. Just fantastic. So what Andy's done...
Kenny Rogers in the first edition.
I
just checked in to see what condition my condition was in.
Andy's put together a list, top 5 Diana Ross songs. Here we go. Number 4. Number 3.
Oh, yeah.
You will always be my endless love.
Number 2. Andy's list number 1, Diana Ross song.
Good list.
They might break
I would have
some
snuck
records.
Upside Down in there, though. I love that song. Upside Down. At 77 years old, who said that, music has a shelf life? I can remember seeing Debbie Harry, it wasn't 10 years ago. She's 76 now. But it was Blondie and The Pretenders at the Peter Lehman Winery. It's one of the best gigs I've ever seen. And the pair of them, both in their mid-60s then, were just sensational.
And I wonder, has nostalgia ever been more popular than it is right now?
I mean, who was that half-wit in Houston who kept playing on the weekend when all those people died? Like, no one's going to be talking about that guy's songs three decades from now. I just think the songs were better. That's my old guy take on it.
Yeah, but I bet
songs were better.
People who grew up in the 60s thought music in the 80s sucked. Like, I bet that always happens, but I'm not sure it's ever been a case where more people who are interested in contemporary music have been interested in the music of the past than there is today. It feels that way. These sorts of things just go gangbusters.
Yeah.
Real appetite for nostalgia. That's going to be fantastic. So, the question we always ask after Andy's list is, what has Andy missed? You can text us on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line 0480813995 or call us on 8223 0000. It's got the David Penberthy tick of approval.
With the absence of Upside Down being noted.
Hey, we need Father Christmas. We need a Father Christmas to call in. There is a Father Christmas shortage.
Yeah.
And if you're currently working, retired or aspiring Father Christmas, here's your moment. We need to talk to you about the industry. 8223 0000. Let's check traffic first. Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Book a test drive today.
Thanks, Will. At Morpeth Vale, look out for a smash on Doctors Road near Main South Road. Henley Beach got urgent sewer works continuing there. Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. Meadlebank, asphalt works continue on Cross Road. That's between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. Keep your eyes out for detours and restrictions there. And still got speed restrictions on the freeway around Crafers and Stirling. A couple of cameras to look out for too. Ashwin Parade, Torrensville. Brooker Terrace at Richmond. Invoicing but instantly, receipts but organised. Business is better with online accounting from Xero. Try free for 30 days. Search Xero. That's Xero. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
Good morning, Helen.
I just want to put this out there. My husband and I were both doubly vaccinated. We want to travel along Sapphire Coast of New South Wales. Can I be guaranteed that I can get back into this state?
9 till 12 weekdays.
Have you rung SA Health to clarify?
No, because I'm sorry, I don't trust them, unfortunately, Leon.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
Make every drive an experience with the Nissan X-Trail, featuring Apple CarPlay. And get Nissan Connect included when you finance with Nissan Future Value. Nissan, experience X-Trail. Approved private and ABN applicants. T's and C's apply.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Now, when it comes to big cleaning projects, you can rely on the team at Exis. That's EXIIS. I went and visited these guys the other day. This is such an impressive company, and it is a true South Australian success story too. This is a company this is the dream we always talk about. We want national companies headquartered in South Australia. They are. They started in South Australia, family-owned business, and they do everything. They'll work in restaurants like Africola, pretty high quality stuff. They'll do heaps
I wouldn't be chucking anything out if I had to clean Africola.
Oh my God.
Can I just take that half a barbecued cauliflower home with me?
Heaps of pubs. They do all the big supermarkets. They do aged care homes. They do hospitals. They do councils. They do wineries. They do Pine Gap, David, the most secret defence installation in this country.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
I shouldn't. Maybe if I disappear tomorrow, you won't be able to reference it and we'll all just move on.
That's right. This ad never happened. So what does Exis do? Well, the answer is pretty much everything that others don't want to do. The grunt and grime work, the difficult and dirty cleaning jobs, high risk, high level, confined spaces.
They're the best in the business too, from kitchen exhaust and cool room cleaning, HVAC and ventilation systems, medical and COVID cleaning, pressure cleaning, gutter cleaning, much more. And I tell you what too, they're hiring as well. If you're looking for a job,
get in there.
Give Exis, toss them your resume.
Exactly. If your business requires a standard of excellence in all things cleaning and hygiene, then get in touch with Exis, EXIIS, Excellence in Industrial Services, exis.com.au.
Here's another business tip brought to you by BP Plus.
Quality is king. Tread carefully when considering any measure that could sacrifice the quality of your work. Cutting corners to reduce costs and speed up completion of a project can be detrimental. They say in sport, you're only as good as your last match. It's the same in business. Your company's reputation for doing quality work is only as good as your last project. Reputations take years to build, but are easily lost on the back of one poor job. So never compromise your high standards of performing quality work.
That was another business tip brought to you by BP Plus. Do business the clever way. Visit bpplus.com.au to find out more.
Save your business 9 cents per litre on fuel at BP for the first 4 months, plus earn up to 100,000 bonus Qantas points with Qantas Business Rewards. Sign up to BP Plus by November 30. Minimum fuel volume criteria, T's and C's apply. Must be a Qantas Business Rewards member to earn Qantas points.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
20 after 7, Chain Reaction. A few people have felt Andy missed off his list of best Diana Ross songs a short time ago. She'll no doubt be playing it at Glastonbury. A few other texts too on the case of the Carlton footballer.
Yeah, there's a few people asking, and it's an understandable question, why it is that Denny Van Hagen from the Crows was identified, but this bloke hasn't been, suggesting that it looks like double standards. I would agree that it does look like double standards, but I would say the reason she was identified straight away was that the way the media found out, and indeed I think the Adelaide Football Club found out, that she had these anti-vax views was that she attended a protest and that social media footage appeared. So that was the entry point to that story, as opposed to this bloke who's clearly just had private conversations with the club saying, I'm against it.
We're looking for Father Christmas. A Father Christmas, any Father Christmas. So are a lot of places. There's a shortage nationally. Jessica Vartov is from Seen to Believe. Jessica, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
We're good, thanks, Jessica, but we're a bit worried about the Father Christmas situation. What's behind the shortfall at the moment?
We're a bit worried too, to be honest. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Obviously, COVID has impacted us, but, you know, like there's just more and more shopping centres, more and more kids that want to get their photo taken, and we just don't have enough Father Christmas to go around.
How many do we need in a Christmas season in Australia?
We use about 500.
Okay. How many have we got?
Is that nationally or South Australia?
National. That's national.
Yeah, right.
And we have about 400.
We're about 100 shy.
100 shy. And
Right.
Steps open this weekend, most of them. So, yeah, the pressure is on.
In all seriousness, I would imagine, is it hard to do a quick turnaround to get people into a Father Christmas suit? Because wouldn't they need, like, police checks and stuff like that?
Yes, they do. They need a working with children check, valid for whatever state they're in. And, you know, they have to obviously be fitted with the uniform. So it can be quite quick. We are obviously professionals and we do this all the time. So it just depends on how fast you can get your working with children check, because everything else, like we can do all the training and get the suit to you pretty fast.
If you're an aspiring Father Christmas and you're listening to this right now and you think, oh, hang on, my time has come, what do you need to do to become a Father Christmas?
You just need to give us a call. So you can call Sydney number 02-9054-2633, or you can email us at santajobs@Seen, SCENE, tobelieve.com, or you can jump on the website seen2believe.com.
So do you need to audition?
Well, there's definitely an interview, yes. We have, a team of our Santa ambassadors, and they conduct the interview and obviously do all the reference checks. And then once you pass that stage, then you just have a jolly old time from there.
I was just wondering, when it comes to vetting the applicants, though, do you have to be careful with, like, equal opportunity laws and that? Like, what if someone turns up and they're, as thin as a rake and they've got red hair? Can you say, sorry, no one's going to think you're Father Christmas?
No, that's a misconception. You don't have to have a big belly. I mean, we've got 6'5" Santas. We've got Santas who are skinny, and we provide the bellies. We've got Santas in their 20s. So
really,
we just have we have amazing.
So it's all in the
bellies
costume,
there.
and you guys can create the magic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly right. So
There you
anybody
go.
who loves Christmas, even you guys could do it.
I've got the belly.
We'll hook you up. We'll hook you up.
Hey, Jessica, thank you. That's it.
If it's good to know if this radio thing doesn't work out, sort of plan B.
Can move straight into the Father Christmas field. Jessica Vartov from
Thank you,
Seen
Jessica.
to Believe. That's really interesting. So
there is, of course, only one Father Christmas, and this is why, and kids get that. You get the facsimile version at your local shop, and you're sort of speaking on behalf of the jolly old fellow in the North Pole. He can't be everywhere, but I mean, a 20% shortfall, that's crisis
problematic,
point.
David.
It
That's
is.
what it
What's
is.
the government doing about it?
Well,
That's
you
my
just
question.
wonder, don't you? Where's Scott Morrison been on this?
Exactly. What's the damn Premier doing? Where's the opposition leader on this one?
Where's the Father Christmas stimulus package?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's talk sports. Secure your next vehicle now with an instant tax write-off before June 30 at North Point Toyota. This was really lovely last night. Stephen Rowe told a story and something of a tribute to the late Keith Bradshaw.
I'll tell you a quick story. It would have been about 5 or 6 years ago, and we're very lucky to be in this position. That's why I mentioned my wife in it. And I love people that remember my wife. It's not me, it's my wife and I. We're as
You're
one.
taking an interest.
Well, you are. Anyway, we got invited to a SACA function, and I introduced him to Jodie once. And in the conversation, Jodie happened to say her favourite cricketer was Rod Marsh. The conversation was struck up. I reckon Keith would have spoken to Jodie for a minute and a half. Roll on 3 years, we got invited to the chairman's room because Rod Marsh happened to get on the board and was in the chairman's room. And guess where Jodie sat? At the same table as Rod Marsh, and it made her absolute year because it reminded her of her father that she lost at such a young age. This is just such a beautiful story. I get emotional about this. Keith organised that through Grantley. Keith come up to me that night and he said, "How good's this?" Jodie's sitting there, Rod Marsh. And I thought to myself, how would you remember? Now, if he's done that for little old Benny Barbecue me, that is a beautiful, beautiful, caring man.
Yep.
And that is exactly what he was.
Yeah,
What a
it's
great
a really
story.
nice story.
Good on you,
well
Rowan,
done,
for saying
Rowan.
that.
Secure your next vehicle now with an instant tax write-off before June 30 at North Point Toyota. 5AA News is on the way. We're going to go around the courts with Sean Fuster in just a moment.
In life, there are those that say they'll do and those that actually do. Some insurers don't offer free roadside assist for a year when you buy a new comprehensive car insurance policy. But Amy does. So instead of being stranded on the side of the road, in the pouring rain, we'll get you out of the storm and back on the road. It's a no-brainer. Go with the doers. Amy does. T's and C's apply. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS. The TMD is also available. Visit amy.com.au for a copy.
Now, World Kindness Day is coming up this Saturday, and simple acts of kindness can have a lasting impact on the lives of both the giver, the receiver, and our local communities, like taking your neighbour's bins in off the street.
Big shout out to my mate Charles in Aldinger. He does that for me every second
good on
Monday.
you, Charles.
Yeah, he's a front runner for World Kindness Day. Or just something as simple as even holding the door open for somebody.
Community Living Australia is all about kindness and helping people with disability be active members in their community. It's in their DNA. They support children and adults with disability to build skills, be part of their community, and live the life they want through a range of services and support tailored to each person's needs.
Community Living Australia's team and people they support will be hitting the streets with acts of kindness all this week across the state. They've done Mount Barker and Victor Harbour already, and today their random acts of kindness include handing out delicious fruit chocks in Bridge Street in Murray Bridge from 11am to 12pm.
Community Living Australia positively impacting the lives of people with a disability and right behind World Kindness Day.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
Hi, it's David Penberthy here. Design and DIY experts Kyle and Cara have completed more than 35 renos since being on the block in 2014. Today, they work with Beaumonts to create great design solutions to help you with your home renovations. Kyle and Cara, tell us about Beaumont's Price Beat Guarantee.
If you've got a pre-Christmas reno on your wish list but want some cash left over for prezzies, then it's time to head to Beaumont's. With Beaumont's Price Beat Guarantee, you're guaranteed the absolute best prices on Australia's biggest range of tiles, or they'll beat it by 10%.
Now that's an early Chrissy prezzy.
Penbo, it sure is. Subways, timber and marble look, indoor and outdoor tiles, Beaumont's guarantee it. Same tiles, amazing quality, quality, best prices, or Beaumont's will beat it by 10%.
And that's why Kyle and Cara choose Beaumont's, and you'll be happy you chose Beaumont's too. Visit tile.com.au, T's and C's apply.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Corolla Hybrid from Jarvis Toyota. It's the iconic hatch, redefined with a 1.8-litre 90-kilowatt hybrid engine. It's already netted a bunch of awards with its game-changing sporty styling. The Corolla Hybrid is definitely made for fun. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Corolla Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park. Proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 20 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
2 more lives have been lost on the state's roads after a crash at Angaston. Just before 5 yesterday afternoon, a ute crashed and rolled onto its roof along Trig Point Hill Road. Senior Constable Matt Brown has told David and Will the 41-year-old driver from Parafield Gardens and his 35-year-old Elizabeth South passenger were killed.
Major crash investigators attended the scene and are investigating the cause of the collision. 2 men's deaths take the amount of lives lost on the state's roads to 86, which is 12 more than this time last year.
A car that crossed into SA late yesterday afternoon has been involved in a smash on the Northern Expressway. The Kia Carnival crashed near Gawler around 7 last night. The 28-year-old Victorian driver allegedly drove the stolen vehicle across the border near Yamba around 5:30. He's expected to front court today on a string of charges. The Prime Minister will today announce the next step in his plan to make Australia carbon neutral by 2050. Nine's Michael Packy has more.
A $1 billion low emissions technology fund would see the government invest in start-up businesses to help get projects off the ground. Half the money would be distributed through the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. The other half would come from the private sector. Among the projects would be carbon capture and storage, as well as measures to reduce methane gases by improving livestock feed. The special fund would require legislation, potentially wedging Labor ahead of the next federal election. The opposition has already indicated it won't support using taxpayer money to invest in certain projects.
We're being warned that the world is still heading for 2.4 degrees of warming despite the pledges made at the UN Climate Summit. Australia has slipped in the latest global rankings for climate action, now sitting 58th out of 64 countries. A family friend of the man accused of abducting Cleo Smith has spoken out as police ramp up their search at the WA home where the little girl was found. Detectives are focusing on a car parked in the driveway of the Carnarvon house. Barbara Graham believes someone else was involved.
There would be, because he haven't got the know-how about to do things. He would have had someone there to show him what to do and where to go and what all these things, you know.
Meantime, Cleo has visited the local police station with her parents to pick up presents from the community. A 3-day music festival will be held across the closing weekend of next year's Adelaide Fringe. Under the Southern Stars will happen in Benithan Park. Promoter Andrew McManus says some rock royalty will take to the stage.
With Cheap Trick, Bush, who are massive here in Australia, Stone Temple Pilots, some enormously talented Australian bands, Rose Tattoo, Killing Heidi, the Super Jesus, Adelaide Born and Bred. It's going to be a fantastic 3 nights of rock and roll.
Tickets go on sale this Friday. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr. Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Rehn.
Thank you, Mel. Carlton faces the prospect of heading into the 2022 season without one of its senior players who refuses to be double vaccinated against COVID. The club isn't naming the player but says it's in constant talks to resolve the situation. The player faces being put on the inactive list or, as a last resort, sacked. Meantime, AFLW Premiership player Danny Van Hagen has already been placed on Adelaide's inactive list for refusing to be jabbed. Let's go to cricket now. All-rounder Glenn Maxwell is urging his teammates to bat with freedom if sent to the crease first in Friday morning's T20 World Cup semi-final. 9 out of the 10 matches held in Dubai have been won by the chasing team. Maxwell says they need to play without fear when they come up against the undefeated Pakistan.
For us, it's just to play with freedom, to back the fact that we've got a really strong top order. We're playing the extra batter. To know we've probably barely used our 5, 6 and 7 throughout the tournament probably shows how good our top few have been.
Socceroos defender Ryan Grant says his phone has been blowing up this week with friends and family wanting tickets for tomorrow's World Cup qualifier. The clash against Saudi Arabia in Parramatta will be Australia's first game on home soil in 2 years. Meantime, Matilda's captain Sam Kerr has scored 2 goals in 2 minutes to help Chelsea to a 7-0 win in the Champions League. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Book a test drive today.
At Morphevale, look out for a crash on Doctors Road near Main South Road. Henley Beach, urgent civil works continue on Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. At Meadowbank, slow conditions there for the asphalt works continuing on Cross Road. That's between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. And look out for a couple of cameras. Days Road, Croydon Park and Sturt Highway at Norriutpa. Freedom's Black Art sale is now on with up to 20% off selected sofas, furniture and homewares and up to 50% off mattresses. Hurry in store, sale on now, only at Freedom. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hereford Recliners, handcrafted for your ultimate comfort. Call 1300 114 118.
Partly cloudy today and 20, showers tomorrow 19, Friday showers continuing 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Give me a head with hair.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 8. John Blake before 8 o'clock. Then after 8 this morning, Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor will join us live in the 5AA Breakfast studio. Very much looking forward to that. Now, let me play this. Theme song to The Wire. We're not going to talk about The Wire. We're going to talk about A Wire, because there is a particular wire that has been the subject of some conversations and investigations, some probing in the courts. To tell us more about it, Sean Fuster from The Advertiser. We go round the courts thanks to Crime Stoppers SA, Police Credit Union, supporting better communities. crimestopperssa.com.au. Sean, good morning to you.
Morning, guys. I guess I've got to say it's an alleged wire.
Yes.
Right.
And it's an alleged wire.
Alleged.
Okay. This is, of course, the blackmail charges against former MP Annabelle Digance and her husband Greg Digance. The allegation is that they tried to blackmail the opposition leader, Peter Malinauskas. This is something we've talked about on the show before, and we talked about the fact that they were going to claim that this was a malicious prosecution, that Malinauskas was directing the police to, take them down, all sorts of things. And Pemb, I think it was you that said to me, how the heck are they actually going to sustain this kind of argument?
Yeah,
how are they going to argue that?
How can you establish, or how can you even go close to suggesting that SAPOL can somehow be told what to do?
Well, on Monday we found out, because unexpectedly, Magistrate Simon Smart of the Adelaide Magistrates Court released all the documentation. Now, this is a very rare thing. Funnily enough, as you'll hear on Just Lawful over the coming weeks, it's very rare for court documents to be released this early in the court process. What we got our hands on, though, as a result of His Honour's orders, was Annabelle Digance's no case to answer submission, saying that the charge simply can't be sustained and there's nothing for her to answer, and also her application to have the prosecution permanently stayed. In other words, yes, there are charges, but it can never go further. So it's an each-way bet. Either throw it out or pause it permanently. And it all comes down to accusations by her that Peter Malinauskas was wearing a wire in 2 locations. Inside Parlamento, the restaurant across the road from Parliament House on North Terrace, during a meeting with her husband Greg. And this one fascinates me. Inside ALP headquarters on Gillis Street, during a meeting where the Digances say, we were having a robust negotiation with Mr. Malinauskas about a potential return to politics, and he's saying now that we were trying to blackmail him.
So their defence, it's not even really a defence, is it? It's more like an argument that there shouldn't even be a defence because none of this should have arisen.
So they're saying 2 things. They're saying, number one, the wearing of a wire is illegal. recording conversations.
Not if
without
you've
letting
been told by the police to do it.
That's exactly right. But they're saying that Malinowskis is wearing the wire and then unlawfully providing that information to SAPOL, and then he's telling SAPOL, okay, now push the button to go and arrest the Dyganses.
See, we're at a point in the trial, though, where we've only actually heard the argument from the Dyganses.
We're not even at trial yet.
No, well...
This is pre-trial. This is them trying to get Malinowskis and a couple of other people up on the stand to give evidence pre-trial.
But wouldn't the counter-argument be that Greg Dygans allegedly says things to Peter Malinowskis that sound menacing? Peter Malinowskis talks to SAPOL. SAPOL say, far out, mate, that sounds like blackmail. You need to wear a wire at future conversations with him, and we will use that as evidence to prosecute the case.
Well, the document's ready for you, Pembo. Prosecutor Pembo, these documents are ready for you.
Do those documents exist?
It's in the document I've already read, because what it says is the other problem you've got is that a legislative amendment prior to all of this specifically called out that a robust negotiation over political appointments cannot be considered blackmail, to the point where former Attorney General Michael Atkinson gave a second reading speech in Parliament saying effectively those words. Not literally, Michael, if you're listening, effectively those words. And as a result, you can't charge someone with blackmail for having a Donnybrook and a Barney over political preferences.
So there's nothing you can say in the conversation about, I think I should be the member for Sturt. And if
I'm not, it's not going to look good for you.
And if I don't, there's nothing I can end that sentence with that makes it illegal. Is that right?
According to the Dyganses documents, yes. They're saying that the amendment makes it very clear, especially with the second reading speech. They're saying that as a result, what we talked about wasn't blackmail anyway. And even if it was blackmail, you can't use the evidence because the recording's been done illegally.
The weird thing with this case, because it's not a civil case.
No, criminal case.
It's a criminal case.
With massive, penalties and implications for conviction.
But their strategy, the Dyganses' strategy through their lawyer, is hugely personal at Malinowskis.
Which is not unusual for blackmail cases, I will say that much. Blackmail cases are... We talk about sex crimes being a he said, she said kind of thing. Blackmail cases are often a they said, because in cases where there is a conviction, there will be some kind of malice, some kind of argument, some kind of animosity between the parties.
Yeah.
So there's always that interpersonal personality clash piece that comes into blackmail.
But the point I'm trying to make, though, is that it feels like the way their lawyer's running it, it's made it hugely about Peter Malinowskis, yet he won't be able to really respond at all.
That's right.
Because the whole thing's being led by the DPP and the cops, who are just saying, well, look, they can say whatever, these are the facts.
And the prosecution pulled that out in court the other day. They said, we don't want these documents released at this time because we don't agree that everything said in them is a matter of fact. We want an opportunity to actually argue the factual nature of the Dyganses' assertions. And we can't do that until the hearing, so you shouldn't let the documents out to the media now.
How is a robust political debate defined in the legislation?
That's a really good question. It's not defined in the legislation. It's in this second reading speech.
Right.
So they've actually quoted this reading speech as a result, saying, this is part of the whole conversation we're having right now. You need to read the legislation in conjunction with the reading speech and see that we have not done anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's murky when you apply this to politics, though, because say, I know this is all hypothetical, but say Dan Cregan had gone to the Premier 3 months ago and said, listen, I'm thinking about quitting. I'm thinking about running as an independent. And say that the Premier then just said, well, what if we made you Attorney General? Or what if there was a young, well, actually, I'll think of one. There is one, an aspiring young woman, Alice Dawkins, daughter of former federal treasurer and education minister in the Hawke government, John Dawkins, who says, I'd like to run for this seat. And they say, no, you're not allowed to because one of the blokes is lined up for that one. Wait your turn. And then she says, actually, that's rubbish. I'm ready now and I want the seat. And they say, no. And then they say, you know what, if you make a fuss about it, like she has done, your career's going nowhere.
I think that's why this legislative amendment was actually brought in. Reading the stuff in the Dygans documents, that seems to be the assertion that you can have a Barney backstage, on Villa Street or wherever you need to.
But define Barney. I mean, to say on the basis of nothing, if you don't get my wife a seat, we're going to go public saying that you're a racist pig.
Which is the allegation in this.
Is that covered by the legislation?
Is that robust? Is that a robust political discussion?
Or is it just made up crap that is blackmail?
When does it tip over the line into a threat, I think, is the question that needs to be decided here. Because
as
it's
alleged,
an argument,
that sounds threatening.
As
Wholly
alleged,
threatening.
That's
We'll
right.
destroy your career.
And that's the prosecution case. The prosecution is saying you made a direct threat which he believed would be carried out. It aroused fear in him. Fear in this case being not fear of his personal safety, but fear of his political career being damaged. If you make a threat that arouses fear and you demand something in return, that, according to the prosecution, makes out the elements of blackmail.
It's a fascinating case. Look forward to you reporting furthermore on it, Sean. Also looking forward to Just Lawful Sunday night. You've got the continuation of your discussion about Cy Walsh.
That's right. We're really pleased with all the feedback we've been getting from people so far. And what we're going to delve into in the next episode is the first 24 hours after the incident that took Phil Walsh's life. What actually happened to Cy when he came to court, and how did Adelaide's media start trying to piece this case back together?
Good stuff. Appreciate
Sean.
having you in. Sean Fewster from
Thanks,
The Advertiser as we go round the courts. Time to check traffic. Do you have an existing BMW service-inclusive package? You can book your next service at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. More for VAR, got a smash on Doctors Road near Main South Road. Henley Beach, those urgent civil works still continuing Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. Myrtle Bank got asphalt works on Cross Road between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. Keep your eye out for detours and restrictions in place there. And I've got a few cameras around the place too. Main North Road, Jeps Cross, Mencken Street, Henley Beach, and West Beach Road at West Beach. Do you have an existing BMW service-inclusive package? You can book your next day service at Glenelg BMW. Visit glenelgbmw.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The Nissan Navara SL Dual Cab 4x4 is in stock right now. Get yours and choose a selected bonus accessories pack worth up to $1,500. Test drive today at your Nissan dealer. T's and C's apply.
Be swept away by Aussie rock with a twist on an epic scale. Now, for those of you who were listening yesterday, you don't need to be told about this because you got a sneak preview. For one night only, Aussie rock legends The Angels plus the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra, they'll rock your world in the Symphony of Angels Spectacular. Experience the Angels' greatest works from a career spanning 4 decades, performed live and backed by a choir in a 20-song extravaganza. Under the direction of Maestro Rob John, the Symphony of Angels features more than 50 musicians. Catch the Brewster brothers John and Rick, along with Nick Norton, Sam Brewster and the charismatic Dave Gleeson. Dave and John, both of them in with us yesterday in the studio. The ASO's Festival of Orchestra delves into many Australian orchestra firsts. Don't miss this unique rock meet symphony spectacle with the ASO at Festival of Orchestra, Friday, December 3, 8 p.m. at the Adelaide Showgrounds. Book now at aso.com.au.
At Swan Security, we've been keeping Australian homes safe for over 30 years, and we're #1 for do-it-yourself CCTV and video security. Swan has a complete lineup from wireless cameras and doorbells to complete multi-camera wide systems, all viewable and controllable from your mobile phone. And you can see the complete range of Swan's smart home security products now at Bunnings Warehouse. So turn your home sweet home into a home safe home with Swan Security from Bunnings Warehouse.
G'day, it's Rowie with Eddie May from NRG Solar. Now, Eddie, why is now the best time to buy solar?
Thanks, Rowie. Government rebates will fall at the end of December. So if you act now, we can install your system in 2021 and you can save an additional $500 to $800 on a typical system, which is a considerable saving. The person who waits another year to decide to get solar will lose thousands of dollars.
Hey, thanks, Eddie. So go solar now and save. For more info, simply visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Home renovations can be akin to climbing Everest. Every step of the way can be torturous to reach your ultimate goal. Well, the same could be said for home renovations, but not if you go with Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. The team at Bi-Urban have always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. So start your journey with Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit biurban.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
11 to 8, John Blake shortly. Let's talk about the weather. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News joins us. We were remarking earlier, Amelia, about how wet it's going to be over the next few days.
Yeah, too right, guys. And it's actually going to be quite wet across the country. Every state is going to get a drink. We've got this big rain events that are brewing. Got a couple of low pressure systems. Now, these are sort of transient lows. They're sort of going a bit rogue. And we've got one developing, I guess you'd say, over central Australia. So just sort of, around our northern border area. Now, that's the area in SA which will get arguably the biggest drink. We've got a flood watch there at the moment with rainfall, anywhere from 20 to 60 millimetres likely across our far north by sort of Friday, but maybe as much as 100 millimetres with, thunderstorms expected to fire up there over the next couple of days as well. For Adelaide, well, we're not going to be left out, but it is really dependent on where this low sort of goes. So if it goes, how low does this low go, you could say. If it does dip a little bit further south, we're likely to see sort of the upper end of some of the rainfall totals that are forecast over the next couple of days. We did see a few showers around this morning as well, though. Mount Crawford's had, about almost 5 millimetres and about 1.5 millimetres around Elizabeth and Newry Way. Most of that action sort of around the Flinders and mid-north at the moment, just sort of drifting east towards our Riverland. So, for the most part, we should see really just a partly cloudy day in the city, 20 degrees of forecast up. Now, enjoy that 20. It doesn't sound balmy, but when you hear about some of the temperatures over the next few days, you'll love that one, I guess. Tomorrow's looking like our wettest day of the week, so we're expecting showers to sort of develop in the city later in the day, maybe 2 to 10 millimetres worth. 19 degrees of forecast up, with those showers just sort of lingering through the weekend. So showers again on Friday, showers probably in the morning and then again at night on Saturday. And we're just going for these tops around 17 degrees. We've got, cloud around, plus showers, plus cool southerly winds, and that's going to keep the temperature down. Now, interestingly, in November, the average top temperature is around the 24-degree mark. So when you hear that 17, a little out of place. Expecting showers to ease on Sunday. And then just sort of, gradually drying out for some cloudy conditions by Tuesday. I never thought I'd be excited for cloudy conditions, but here we are. So, it'll be particularly, the real action though, guys, is about our far north and our far west. It'll be muggy about our far north as well. We've got these, as I sort of mentioned, this big low. It's tapping into tropical moisture, and there's a lot of it, sort of north of Australia at the moment. So its exact path is uncertain. But, basically we're expecting it to head east. It'll be out of the state by the weekend, but we've just got, these cool southerly winds in its wake, and that's what will keep those showers going. So an interesting couple of days, especially if you're about those northern districts, guys.
Beautiful. Good stuff, Amelia. Thank you for that. Great information. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. Coming up to 8 minutes to 8. The Lord Mayor will be joining us after 8 o'clock this morning. As we'll breaking at 8, just after 8. World Kindness Day is not too far away either. It's happening on this Saturday, and 5AA, along with Community Living Australia, will be promoting good deeds and pledging acts of kindness across Adelaide all week. Make sure you keep an eye out for the Community Living Australia and 5AA street team this morning. They'll be handing out fruit shocks in Bridge Street, Murray Bridge, all thanks to fruit shocks. Keep listening this week to find out how you can help 5AA celebrate World Kindness Day. Community Living Australia, positively impacting people living with disabilities, online on Facebook and Instagram. Getting lots of texts coming through on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Some of them are road related as well. Marcus from Elizabeth says he just watched a 3-car pile-up outside of Brighton Woolworths heading north. That's something to keep an eye out for in your travels this morning. If anyone else has seen it, we'd love to hear from you, get a sense of what it's going to mean traffic-wise. 8223 0000.
Talking about the Diana Ross comeback as well, Stephen from Mount Barker says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Classic music never dies. I work at a school and the kids play music off their phones on their playlist. I've given them songs like Take Me Home Country Road, Rasputin by Boney M. What a great song that is. The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. A bit of Wang Chung. That's an eclectic mix, isn't it?
That really is.
Everybody Wang Chung tonight. Wally the Walnut says, old music, Pembo, is artwork. It's fantastic. All this new crap, they're not musicians. It's just electronic blah, blah, blah.
I suppose that's the one benefit of streaming music removes the romance of buying an album and having the album cover and the artwork and list the way you listen to it. But the upside is, at any point, you can say to anyone, have a listen to this song from 1962. Here it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Play it right now.
But it feels like less of an event.
Your exposure's great.
Using Spotify. Like, I've got Spotify.
Yep.
And it's terrific. It's great. It's portable. It's in the car. It's, You can stream it to your Bluetooth speaker at a Saturday night, and you're not up and down all night changing records. But the physical act of putting on a record is a commitment.
Yes.
And it's also much more tactile, and it sounds better. It just sounds better. Like,
well, yeah.
The needle hitting the vinyl. But
there's a richness to the sound
But
of
imagine designing record sleeves now.
Well, you wouldn't bother.
You'd be on the scrap heap almost, wouldn't you?
Just about. All right, stop for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
The Office of the Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Stephen Marshall.
Yes, Julian.
Morning, Premier. Everybody hates you.
What?
Everybody's mates with you.
Oh, right, well, that's good.
Yes, even though they think you're a dick.
What?
They wouldn't dare give you the flick.
Oh.
At the election, you know.
Right.
Think you're out of your tree.
What?
Would you like a cup of tea?
Oh, yes, please. This thing's not working properly.
Not going to win.
What?
I'll bring it in.
Oh, okay.
Not that you deserve it.
What?
I'll come in and serve it.
Oh, okay.
Tea lady!
Oh, great. So how's the feeling out there?
Well, everybody's thinking you should open up the venues in time for Christmas.
Oh, look.
Because enough's enough, Premier.
But we've got to heed the advice of the medical...
They're saying you're a heartless twat.
What did you say?
They're saying you're fantastic regardless of that.
No, look, you're just saying words and then using rhymezone.com to choose nicer words that sound the same. I know you little
I'm
trick.
not doing that.
Yes, you are.
Smartass.
What?
Fart grass. No, wait.
Got you.
Art class.
Art class? That doesn't make sense.
Well, it would if you had a brain.
See, I heard that.
I said the rain in Spain falls mainly...
Julian, you're being a disagreeable bitch.
What?
I said it's foreseeable that you have perfect pitch. Oh, it's hard, isn't it?
Oh, God, get with the program.
What?
Would you like a Tim Tam?
Oh, yeah, lovely, thanks.
Tim Tams. More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Debbie in South Plympton has called in. Morning to you, Debbie.
Good morning, lads. How are you today?
Yeah, we're good, thanks, Debbie.
Now, I work in a cafe in Croydon, and we have no FM at all.
Good.
We do Bob Hope, we do Dean Martin, we do all the old crooners, we do French cafe music, we have Wham days.
Nice.
We have Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers afternoons.
Oh, yeah.
We're awesome. We do 70s days.
And is this all on records, Debbie?
No Spotify at all, actually. So
Yeah, right.
We have the best of the best.
I suppose when you're making coffees, you don't be up every 15 minutes changing sides, do you?
That's right.
No way, no. We make our own lists and we go for it. But we have the customers that come in love our music. So yeah.
Give you a cafe a shout out, Debbie. Where are you guys in Croydon?
It is on Queen Street, Croydon. It is called the Duchess on Queen.
Oh yeah,
we
I
are
know
a
that.
tea. Yeah, so we're a tea place. We specialise in high teas.
How good Queen Street?
And good music.
Queen Street, Croydon. That was like sort of just another street for a long time. It's undergone a real cultural renaissance, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Now, I wasn't aware of it either, but it has been there a long time, and it's entrenched, very well entrenched in the cafe scene along that first sort of block of the street. So we're a bit further down the end, a little bit in the quieter area, but we definitely have a specific clientele. In fact, a lot of our demographic comes from your radio listeners, but we have beautiful
People of taste, you mean?
Yes.
People of class and distinction.
Yes, and Wills is one of our favouriteest customers.
Oh, excellent, Willsy.
And Hans the German, he comes to visit us all the time.
Comes in for a bit of bratwurst.
We love our customers, yep. And we have the best music, so yeah, come down. No,
Good stuff, Debbie.
Is that where, hey, Debbie,
we
didn't the Red Door Bakery used to be there?
Oh,
Was that
look,
further
I'm
down?
Well, I do know that originally what the shop next door to us was a butcher in that area.
Yeah, right.
So possibly, yes. They're quite old, those buildings down there.
All right, good stuff,
Beautiful
Debbie.
part of town.
Thank you. Good to hear about it. 2 minutes to 8. Breaking at 8 coming up after 5AA News.
You can do just about anything online. Buy a couch, find the love of your life, enter the cryptocurrency market. But there's one thing so important that you should never do online, and that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. The sort of thing you just can't do with an online will. Visit donlanlawyers.com.au and organise an appointment today. donlanlawyers.com.au.
Now, if you talk to some of our young people, you see many of them are doing it tough. In fact, they fear they won't have the skills they need to get a job. and there are plenty struggling to cope, let alone thrive in their future.
Here we are. That's why Generation Thrive is so important. Their Thrive at Life 8-week online personal leadership program is transforming the lives of young Australians.
And all through November, they're offering South Australians aged 15 to 30 the chance to win one of 10 places in their program, complete with a personal coach.
It really is a fantastic program, so nominate yourself or someone you feel will benefit by visiting generationthrive.com.au. Terms and conditions are on the website. Nominations close November 30.
Sportsmed Foot and Ankle Clinic is growing, with orthopaedic surgeon Dr. Tom Fisher joining our Stepney Healthcare Hub. Here's Dr. Claire Bolton.
Sportsmed isn't like other clinics. We have our own hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists together in one state-of-the-art location. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can happen in one place. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high-quality, cost-effective care.
All your treatments, all your care, one place. Sportsmed. Visit sportsmed.com.au.
For 37 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. Now that spring is here, Steinborner Automotive Gawler has stocked up with 40 hand-picked 2018-19 ZB Commodores. Choose from a range of factory edition or special black edition with black roof and black wheels. That's 2018 and 2019 ZB Commodores from $22,990, all with a balance of factory warranty. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Online, on DAB digital radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 20 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
A high-profile government senator says the push for a $1 billion low-emissions technology fund is a waste of money. Startup companies developing green products would share in the money to help bring their invention to market. Half the cash would be distributed through Clean Energy Finance Corporation and the other half through the private sector. But National Senator Matt Canavan has told Nine it doesn't make any sense to go down this path.
This seems like a big waste of money to me. $1 billion to a bunch of rent seekers who are talking about fake jobs. Meanwhile, this week, we've had 170 people lose real jobs in Brisbane because we're shutting down our last urea manufacturing facility.
An international comparison of climate change policies has seen Australia listed among the worst performing countries. Nine's UK correspondent Brett McLeod reports.
An international scientific analysis of various countries' policies, known as Climate Action Tracker, has given Australia a major thumbs down. It says the Morrison government's commitment to net zero by 2050 lacks detail and credibility, with no national plan to transition to renewable energy, ranking Australia 58th out of 64 countries when it comes to climate action. And as the COP26 summit enters its final days, the tracker forecasts international commitment so far would still see global warming rise 2.4 degrees by the end of the century.
2 people have been killed in a crash at Angaston just before 5 yesterday afternoon. A ute crashed and rolled onto its roof along Trig Point Hill Road. The driver, a 41-year-old Parafield Gardens man, and his passenger, a 35-year-old man from Elizabeth South, both died. 86 lives have been lost on the state's roads so far this year, which is 12 more than the same time a year ago. The head of Australia's avocado industry is hoping the reopening of cafes in the eastern states after months of lockdown will help end the current glut. Perfect seasonal conditions have seen a bumper crop, but demand hasn't been able to keep up with an oversupply, leaving farmers to leave fruit to rot. Avocados Australia's John Tyus says the reopening of our 2 biggest cities should have a flow-on effect.
About 20% of all Australian avocados go into the food service sector, so when those 2 cities were in lockdown, that had a really big impact, particularly on the lower grade product that got a few blemishes or whatever, but the fruit's still very good. That fruit often finds its way into cafes and restaurants.
Investigations are continuing into the death of 8 people at the Astro World Music Festival in Houston, Texas. Nine's Alison Petrowski has the latest.
A number of attendees have spoken out saying the festival was a death trap, as investigators now look into whether a batch of counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl played a role in the mass casualty event. Darius Williams was one of hundreds of security guards hired days before the festival and claims his role was vague and that organisers were woefully unprepared.
I would say there was probably one security guard for every 500 to 1,000 people, severely understaffed.
A 9-year-old boy remains in a medically induced coma.
Father Christmas may not be able to visit some shopping centres this season because of a national shortage. Nationally, around 500 are needed every year, but so far this year there are only 400 ready to go. Jessica Vartoff from Seen to Believe has told David and Will, the clock is ticking, but it's not too late for anyone who thinks they could fit the bill.
It just depends on how fast you can get your working with children check, because everything else, like we can do all the training and get the suit to you pretty fast.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected ASCO dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
What's happening in the AFL, Tom Rehn?
Well, there's a big story breaking, Mel, and it's that Carlton faces the prospect of heading into the 2022 season without one of its senior players who refuses to be double vaccinated. Meantime, West Coast veterans Josh Kennedy and Shannon Hearn have re-signed for another AFL season in 2022. Let's go to cricket now. Pakistan's Asif Ali has been named the ICC's Men's Player of the Month after his efforts at the T20 World Cup. Australia will face Pakistan in the semi-finals on Friday morning. Closer to home, and the Adelaide Strikers women's side has bounced back to the winners list with an 18-run win against the Sydney Thunder. They'll be hoping to back it up again today with a win against the Sydney Sixers. And the Redbacks will take on Tasmania in a Shield clash starting in Hobart later this morning. Still on cricket, and the Sacca is remembering its chief executive, Keith Bradshaw. The 58-year-old passed away yesterday after a long battle with cancer. He was appointed CEO of the South Australian Cricket Association in 2012. Sacca high-performance manager Tim Nielsen says he was a wonderful human being.
I think that's why so many people will feel as though they had a personal contact or a personal relationship with him, because he did always say, "G'day Tim," or "G'day Stephen," or he knew your name, and he made an effort to remember, which is a really special trait.
Yeah, he was a wonderful person. Dylan Alcott is considering a career in acting or politics once his wheelchair tennis career wraps up after next year's Australian Open. Sam Kerr has scored a double to help Chelsea to a 7-0 win against Swiss side Servette in their Champions League match this morning. Steph Curry has dropped his first 50-point game for the NBA season as the Golden State Warriors beat the Atlanta Hawks 127 to 113. And one game in the NFL to wrap up Week 9 with the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Chicago Bears 29 to 27. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you have an existing BMW service inclusive package? You can book your next service at Glenelg BMW.
Croydon got a 2-car crash on the north-south motorway at Torrens Road. Morford Vale, another collision there. It's on Doctors Road near Main South Road. Henley Beach, urgent sewer works continue. Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. And still got speed restrictions on the freeway around Crayford, Stirling and the tunnels. That's affecting both directions. The 40 Winks Click Frenzy sale is on now. Go online and get 50% off mattresses and 30% off furniture. Exclusions apply end Sunday. 40 Winks, serious about sleep. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hereford Recliners, handcrafted for your ultimate comfort. Call 1300 114 118.
Heading for a top of 20 for your Wednesday and partly cloudy. Showers tomorrow 19. Friday showers continuing down to 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Coming up to 8 minutes after 8, breaking at 8 in just a moment. We'll wrap some of the stories of the morning shortly thereafter, including some details of a significant crash that happened just after 6 o'clock this morning. We'll talk about a council meeting in Alberton that transpired last night, and also we'll take you through some of the other things that have taken place as well. First, let's catch up with Pat from Warrido, who's called in. Morning to you, Pat.
Good morning, people. I just want to relate a funny thing that happened to my husband when he was being Father Christmas. at the local kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yes, he dressed, well away from home, so nobody saw him, and down he went to the kindergarten, and he loved kids, and he could play the part well. Anyhow, one of the little girls, after kindergarten, her mother went around to see her parents, who were friends of ours. And, of course, Grandpa said, "Oh, did you like Father Christmas, and what did he do?" She said it wasn't Father Christmas, it was Mr. T. He said Mr. T would be going to work. He hasn't got time to be Father Christmas. Oh, yes, it was. He had his watch on.
Oh, the watch gave him away.
Giveaway.
The watch gave him away. Now, we might have been in that child's company, socially a couple of times, but she picked it up straight away, and she was at kindergarten.
Wow.
So the week after, he was Father Christmas at another do, and he took his watch off.
But you don't want to be busted.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Hey, that's a lovely story, Pat. Thank you. There is a shortage of Father Christmases around the country, as we discovered a little bit earlier this morning. We're about 100 short of the required number to get us through Christmas.
Yep.
400 out of 500 is where we're at. So if anyone wants to, and now you've got a tip from Pat, don't wear your watch.
No. Dust off the red Dax, but don't put the watch on.
No identifying features.
No, exactly.
That helps. It's good stuff. All right, let's go breaking it up.
Well, you'll recall a few weeks ago in Breaking It Up, we brought you the story of a social worker by the name of Ms. Matilda Borden. We emphasise the honorific there. It's not doctor, it's Ms. Despite having no actual medical training whatsoever, it came to the attention of the Health and Community Services Complaints Commissioner that in her mystifying capacity as a social worker, Ms. Borden had been doling out what she regarded as crackerjack and vital health information relating to what she calls the dangers of getting vaccinated. The Tizer also had a story that she'd sent an email around to staff and clients. She was doing some NDIS work. You think, how dodgy is this with people who are potentially immunocompromised? Where she actually said that for her own safety and the safety of others, she was going to refuse to see any clients who had been vaccinated. Anyone who had been vaccinated. Anyway, what happened as a result of this was that on October 13, Ms. Borden was prohibited from providing health services in respect of health education and or the provision of information relating to COVID-19 vaccines. Well, today it's going to be confirmed by the Health and Community Services Complaints Commissioner that they've now gone one step further because the HCSCC has a reasonable belief that she's further breached the code of conduct for healthcare workers. We understand it's by continuing to provide some pretty out there advice about the so-called dangers of vaccination. As a result of that, they've now completely thrown the book at her, where for the next 3 months, she will be prevented from giving any health advice about anything to anyone. So that means the provision of any information relating to any human physical health, illness, symptom or condition. Basically, they've said that the sorts of things that she's been engaged in are quackery and that she has surrendered the right to provide any information at all to anyone about anything to do with health. Sounds like a terrific decision to me.
12 minutes after 8, we'll get to some of the stories developing over the course of the morning and late last night. SAPOL have issued some advice with regard to a serious crash at Meningie. About 10 after 6 this morning, police were called to Baker Street after a ute had left Princes Highway and crashed into a shed. The sole male occupant suffered serious injuries. Road restrictions are in place, and the message from SAPOL is still, some hour and 40 minutes later, to avoid the area if possible. Now, late last night, the council met with regard to the Alberton Oval redevelopment, and who better to go to than our Alberton correspondent, Dave Lloyd. Dave, good morning to you, mate.
Yeah, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. So you watched along live as it all took place. What happened?
Yeah, look, it's a fairly dour process, to say the least, council meetings. I'm not sure who's attended too many, but Yeah, look, I believe 10-3 was the vote in the end to proceed with the proposed development. Look, obviously living nearby, I've spoken to a lot of locals about it, and reactions are mixed from very much against it to very much for it, and everywhere in between. So it's been an interesting couple of months listening to people around the community talk about it and what their thoughts are.
It must be a bit of a complex issue for people emotionally, Dave, because I can't imagine you've got too many Crows supporters, you know, as neighbours there. This would be absolute port heartland, yet at the same time, there would be some people who love the club, but who also feel like this is a bit over the odds for what's historically been a quiet suburban backstreet.
Look, absolutely. I'm fairly torn myself because obviously I want what's best for my community and my club, and I think the development is very good for both. But fair to say, if it was across the road from me, I probably wouldn't be quite enamoured with it. It's not really in fitting with, I guess, the character of the suburb. You know, homes from the late 1800s with, you know, big sprawling blocks and wide frontages. It doesn't really fit in. But as I said, I obviously want what's best for my club and then also the community. Anything that gets kids off their backsides and playing sport is a good thing. So, yeah, I think there'd be a lot of people in the community like myself who would be a little bit torn. But the opponents to the development probably wake up this morning feeling as though they might have wasted their time, that it was a fait accompli. It was done before they put their submissions in. But yeah, look, it's going ahead, and we'll see what it looks like in the near future, I guess.
Dave, thank you for that, mate. I really appreciate it. That's our Alberton correspondent, Dave Lloyd.
When news breaks in Alberton, Dave is there.
He's our go-to man. Now, from Alberton to St. Peter's, we started the morning talking about the prospect that the famed 9th Avenue Christmas light display, that's just fantastic. Love driving to see this one on our trip to see all the great light displays in Adelaide around Christmas time. Might be under some doubt by virtue of what looks to be a planning stuff-up. Essentially, some roadworks has been commissioned for Stephen Terrace there. And
what an Adelaide thing, that even the Christmas lights suddenly get screwed around by roadworks popping up.
Well, it seems that nobody was aware of one of the most famous light displays in Adelaide. Anyway,
you got to pull a roast leg of lamb out of the avenue, find a bloke in there holding a stop sign. The roadworks pop up everywhere.
Kevin Norton's in 9th Avenue, a resident who's doing a lot of work on behalf of the people there that just want to keep this wonderful display going. Kevin, good morning to you.
Morning, David and Will, and it's strange, isn't it, how a street known for its lights is often left in the dark.
So people got a letter in the mailbox on Monday morning saying this was happening. Take us through the last 72 hours.
Well, the last 72 hours are a repeat of what we went through earlier this year in February, when another roadworks proposal actually proposed to close off the intersection of Stephen Terrace and 9th Avenue, which would have made the Christmas lights display in December chaos. And in that case, the same as this case, there were one or two houses who received a letter advising of the roadworks proposal. And the same thing has happened here. Now, we spent 4 months dealing with the Minister's office and the department, outlining all the reasons why their initial proposal to partially block off the street had safety implications, had implications for the lights display. They agreed with that and they cancelled those roadworks. And yet this week, just 2 days ago, one house that we know of received advice that they would be resealing Stephen Terrace at night time between mid-November and the end of December, which means that the road would be closed at night time, which is, of course, when the lights are on from December 1 to December 31.
Geez. Is there any wiggle room? I see, Kevin, the council has said they're talking to Borrell to see if they can get him to put the foot to the floor and get it done before the lights start.
Yeah, the council's been fantastic. I've spoken to the Mayor, Robert Rehn, who's been a long-time supporter of these lights, and they assist with signage and some of the traffic management issues as well, as does SAPOL. But also had a phone call from the Department of Transport. And they're the ones who seem to have a problem with consultation and seem to have a problem with record keeping, because we advised them of the popularity of these lights earlier this year and how they need to be careful when they're going forward with any future traffic proposals to take those things into account. And the official that I spoke to yesterday, she didn't have any idea that this would interfere with it. And her words to me yesterday were that they would work through their program a little more closely to progress the plan, but interfere as little as possible. And then last night, I got a message from the Mayor saying that the discussions he'd had indicated that they would try to finish the roadworks by early December. Now, we're sort of left in that up and down situation. Who knows? I feel sorry for the contracting company Boral. I spoke with them. They were, as I mentioned before, they were in the dark about the lights as well. So it's not their fault. I think it's just again consultation needs to be more than just putting a letter in 1 or 2 letter boxes.
Yeah,
and you need to keep records.
Yeah, absolutely.
Previous discussions. It's not hard.
Yeah, Kevin, thank you. You guys do a wonderful job. So hopefully it can go ahead and they get it done as quickly as possible. The Mayor of Nord Payneham and St Peter's Council's Robert Brea, he's also called in. Mayor, are you hopeful that this will be resolved so things can proceed as normal on 9th Avenue?
I certainly am hopeful. But firstly, let me just say congratulations to Kevin and the other organiser of this event. It's been going 20 years now. They do a fantastic job and the council is very happy to support them. But I think what was disappointing, Will and David, was that we were notified by DIT in late August that they were going to do this work on 9th Avenue, and we asked them if they could defer the work till early in the new year because we have some drainage works along Stevens Terrace between 6th and 8th Avenue too, and they refused to do that, which doesn't quite make sense if you're going to reseal a road and then only to dig it up a couple of months later. But nonetheless, I think you're absolutely right. Boral, it's no fault of theirs. Clearly there's been a communication breakdown, and we certainly hope that they can get the resurfacing work done by the time the light installation starts, I think December 3. So let's keep our fingers crossed, but all credit to the residents of 9th Avenue.
Good on you, Robert. Thank you. That's the Mayor of Nord Payneham and St Peter's, Robert Brea.
They need a sort of psychologist, someone with, well, not even someone trained, someone with a faint understanding of human behaviour and likely human reactions to go and work at the Department of Transport, don't they? Like, it doesn't sound like it's got a sort of anyone in there who's in charge of the charm offensive when it comes to managing things like this, or, you know, a little matter of knocking down a couple of 100 houses in Glandor and.
But if you were sitting in an office, I mean, surely there's at least someone in an office that go, here's the term, you know, here's the name 9th Avenue, or here's Pelham Street, and thinks, oh, hang on, when are we aiming to do this? Oh, that might not work. Like, doesn't ring any bells for anyone?
No, clearly not.
Not a single person went, oh, hang on. They just went,
well, no, because
no.
you're just sitting there with your spreadsheet going, you know, pothole, gutter. Well, no, it's just robotic behaviour, isn't it?
Hey, here, this is lovely. You remember Clara, one of our wonderful listeners who we met earlier this year. She and her demons-loving, long-suffering Melbourne Demons-loving husband won our grand final competition, went off to the grand final. Congratulations to both you, Clara and Daniel. They're celebrating their 48th wedding anniversary today.
48?
So happy anniversary.
Sensational. How long was the Bombers drought? How many
the
years
Demons
was it?
drought.
Sorry, the Demons drought?
Well, I think it was probably more than... It was
1962, wasn't it?
So, yeah. So no, they might have been married just... No, they wouldn't.
No, they weren't.
It would have been
longer than the drought.
Well, there you go.
The drought lasted longer than their wedding. I said Bombers because I just got a text from a mate who barracks for the Bombers talking about the Carlton player, saying, I don't know what the problem is. All of our players got the jab 10 years ago and they all seem to be all right.
22 minutes after 8. Time for Fuel Watch. Thanks to Glenelg BMW, now open on Ryan Road. Book a test drive today. Petrol now back up to $1.79 for most of Adelaide. Otherwise, $1.51 at the United Melrose Park on South Road. $1.55 on the corner of Montacute Road and St Bernard's Road. $1.53 at the Liberty on corner of Grand Junction Road and Hanson Road in Wingfield. The cheapest, $1.47 at the Ex-Convenience on Bryans Road in Northfield. We'll stay with the good people of Glenelg BMW. They also bring us the traffic. And if you've got an existing BMW service inclusive package, you can book your next service right now at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. At Croydon, got a two-car crash on the north-south motorway, Torrens Road. That's inbound. Morford Farm got a smash on Doctors Road near Main South Road. Henley Beach, urgent sewer works, Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. And Myrtlebank asphalt works continue crossroad between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. Look out for detours and restrictions in place there. Whatever the industry, whatever the workwear, Totally Workwear can help. For workwear for tradies through to uniforms for nurses, head to Totally Workwear, Australia's largest workwear supplier. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Or Tritters, welcome. The fat shaming debate continues. Should clubs use calipers and measure and record your body fat percentages? Or is that fat shaming?
Yes, it gave me angst. And now I had one of the lowest skin folds in the team. Reality was, I had to prepare to come back in good shape, and this is what the good shape is.
4 p.m. weekdays.
So we're not using that now? You need to do that if you're a professional athlete. That is your job. I think we're getting pretty precious.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. And as the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we'll match any genuine price on identical items. But most importantly, our staff are helpful and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear, Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker, Gawler and online.
If you're looking into a new bathroom or kitchen reno, now, of course, you want the outcome to be spectacular, but what you don't want is a bunch of stumbling blocks along the way, including broken promises.
We won't have that problem when you deal with the excellent people at Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. That's where they never make a promise they can't keep. And in the very rare event of a delay or something's not quite going to plan, you're not going to find out about it by accident because Coxie or one of his team, they'll be on the phone to you quick, smart and offering a solution.
It's all about the journey. Coxie and the entire team, they go to extraordinary lengths to ensure the whole process is trouble-free. So start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Urban Bathrooms, Kitchens, Flooring and Shutters, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit byurban.com.au.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
Hey, it's Callum for Edwardstown Mazda. Call in and choose your colour on an incredible demo Mazda, including Mazda 3, CX-5 and BT50. Ready to take home right now. 862 South Road, Edwardstown. LMVD 207428.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
27 minutes after, right, we've got a Santa's Wonderland family pass to give away. We're asking you what South Australia's best drink is. South Australia's best beverage of all time.
Where do you start?
Well, you only get one entry, and we judge who wins the Santa's pass. Santa's Wonderland family pass.
Surely we need some criteria. Does it include wine?
Includes everything. It's a liquid. If you
liquid.
want to come on and argue a soup is the best beverage, go for it. Ooh, you're not going to win, though. Okay. 8223 Text on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. The reason we're talking about South Australian beverages is the return of the Halls brand, Halls Lemonade. It will be coming back along with Lemon Twist, Fruiter and Stony Ginger Beer.
Fruiter?
Yeah, exactly. It's all coming back because Cameron Ballard, an Adelaide businessman, has secured the Halls trademark. He's been fighting for 3 years to get it, has managed to acquire it, wants to bring it back to take on the big international Coca-Colas and these kind of brands. The most exciting part of this story is he wants to get in touch with the family to get the original recipes. I'm telling you, Old Stony ginger beer might be the best thing that's come out of South Australia, full stop.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
You can have your Hills Hoist.
Brown can, like it was timber.
You can have Old Stony ginger beer. It was great. That stuff is the whiskey of ginger beer. It burnt the back of your throat. You felt like your hairs were growing on your chest when you drink that stuff. It is sensational. I'm so excited it's back. What is South Australia's best drink? Now, Andy tells me Alf has called in from Broadview to really lay down the gauntlet. Alf, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I don't think anything beats a Farmers Union iced coffee, hands down. I think, although I don't drink a lot of it, because it tends to not agree with my stomach, it's iconic and it's South Australian.
Yes, thank you, Alf. I certainly lived on a diet of them once upon a time, and then I realised it was not good for anything.
I'm going
but they are delicious.
I'm going Penfolds 389, Cabernet Shiraz.
Yep, okay. 8223 0000. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Outbacker text line too. Santa's Wonderland family pass is on the line.
The late Ray Beckwith said he said if you had to tell the story of Penfolds in one bottle, that would be it, the 389.
That would be it. All right. So, South Australia's best beverage. Could be absolutely anything.
Southwark Stout, nominated by Andrew in Rosedale.
Doesn't have to be alcoholic either. We are talking about halls at the end of the day.
We are, but a lot of the listeners aren't. Like Jared, he says Cooper's Pale Ale. Someone else just says West End Draft. Come on, let's get some softies in there.
Well, absolutely.
There'd be there's some I associate with growing up as a kid, like Raz. Remember Raz?
No, I've never had
the
Raz.
Raz was good. It came in one of those pyramid-shaped containers. I think it was a spin-off of Sunny Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right. It's 8:30, 5AA news time. We're going to give away the Santa's Wonderland family pass in just a moment.
South Australia's public hospitals are at breaking point. Doctors are grappling with excessive workloads and high levels of fatigue in an under-resourced system that's struggling to meet patient demand. And that's before any COVID impact after the borders open. Our doctors need a safe workplace with the time and resources to safely care for you and your loved ones. Tell Premier Marshall it's time to care for our doctors and for the health of all South Australians. Authorised by Dr. Laura Willington, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers, Adelaide.
Leon here. It's time to reset how we do energy. My friends at Zen Energy want you to know government rebates are changing, so solar prices are about to increase. But it's not too late. Now's the time to secure your solar system at 2021 prices with Zen Energy. They're a trusted supplier that's installed 35,000 systems. Tell Zen Leon sent you for a special offer. Let's reduce our carbon footprint and power bills with solar. Visit zenenergy.com.au. That's zenenergy.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 20 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
The federal government plans to join with the private sector to help build technology to lower Australia's emissions. Nine's Michael Packey reports.
Start-up businesses developing low-emissions technology would be given federal assistance to help commercialise their product. It would be facilitated through a new $1 billion fund. Half the money would be distributed through the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. The other half would come from the private sector. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says it's the way to go.
Can do capitalism, not don't do governments.
Opposition leader Anthony Albanese has told Sky News it's just spin.
This is a government that's thrashing about trying to come into the 21st century.
The new fund would require legislation. Labor is yet to decide if it'll back the move.
A man has suffered serious injuries in a crash at Meningie. His ute left the Princess Highway and slammed into a shed shortly after 6 this morning. A man's been arrested after crashing a stolen car near Gawler. The collision occurred on the Northern Expressway around 7 last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the Kia Carnival was being tracked by Road and Air.
Police deployed various resources along the highway to try and stop the stolen car after it had crossed the border near Yamba about 5:30 p.m, and Pol Air was used as well to track the vehicle.
The 28-year-old Victorian driver is expected to front court today. The driver of the other car, a 26-year-old man, was injured and airlifted to hospital. His injuries are not life-threatening. One of Adelaide's most popular displays of Christmas lights is under threat because of roadworks. For 20 years, the houses of 9th Avenue at St Peter's have been lit up for the public to enjoy. But this year there's road resurfacing scheduled for Stevens Terrace through most of December. Mayor of the City of Norwood, Payneham and St Peter's, Robert Breer, has told David and Will, hopefully the issue can be resolved.
Clearly there's been a communication breakdown, and we certainly hope that they can get the resurfacing work done by the time the light installation starts, I think December 3. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Working from home can have its interruptions, even if you're a Prime Minister. New Zealand PM Jacinda Ardern was sharing a live COVID update to Facebook when her 3-year-old daughter gate-crashed the announcement.
You'll see that greater certainty for business. You're meant to be in bed, darling. It's bedtime, darling. Pop back to bed. I'll come and see you in a second. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, Nanny will take you down to bed. Thanks, Nana. Well, that was a bedtime fail, wasn't it?
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $400 on selected ASCO dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Got to do that with Tom Rehn all the time. Here he is with sport.
I was going to say, I've got a 3-year-old myself, and I feel her pain.
You feel her pain.
But I can be similarly difficult to put to bed as well. Let's start with cricket. South Australia's Travis Head will be hoping to thrust his name in front of the national selectors again when the Redbacks come up against Tasmania in a Shield clash starting in Hobart this morning. Usman Khawaja will be hoping to do the same for Queensland against WA. The first test against England begins in Brisbane in a month. Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers women's side's back on the winners list and up to 6th on the table following an 18-run win against the Sydney Thunder. Dane van Niekerk and Laura Vulvart, the stars with the bat, each making a half-century. Well, the future of an unnamed senior Carlton player is in doubt for refusing to adhere to the AFL's vaccine mandate. The unnamed player would be the first in the men's league. If they don't change their mind, the player can be put on the inactive list like Denny Van Hagen from the Crows, or they could even be sacked. Let's go to soccer. A Sam Kerr brace has helped Chelsea thrash Swiss side Servette in their Champions League group stage match.
Chelsea hungry for more goals, Rehn with the cross. And how easy was that? Tucked home by Sam Kerr.
They won that match 7-0. Meantime, more bad news for Manchester United. Midfielder Paul Pogba could be out for months after a thigh injury at training. And pictures are emerging of the aftermath of yesterday's basket brawl in the NBA. Denver's Nikola Jokic bumped Miami's Markieff Morris, sparking all sorts of shouting matches. Turns out the Heat players approached the Nuggets locker room after the game, but were escorted away by security. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Book a test drive today.
At Croydon got a couple of collisions, one on the north-south motorway citybound at Torrens Road and another one also at the north-south motorway at Croydon Park. This one's near Bishop Street. Henley Beach, urgent sewer works, Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. And at Kent Town, those water main works continue. To Kettleville Terrace near Rundle Street, speeds down to 40. A couple of cameras to keep your eye out for today. Ashwin Parade, Torrensville, Port Road at Cheltenham. Renovating? Check out Australia's biggest range of tiles at Beaumont Tiles, Great Street. Now open every Sunday, and Beaumont's Red Hot Clearance Centre also open Sundays on South Road, Richmond. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Hereford Recliners, handcrafted for your ultimate comfort. Call 1300 114 118.
Partly cloudy today, heading for a top of 20. Showers tomorrow 19, then Friday showers continuing down to 17. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
You've selected the block for your new permanent or holiday home. Now it's time to visit the Selector Homes and Building Solutions Display Village. Walk through the Esperance, stylish and modern, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and large open plan living. The Hallett, spacious 2-bedroom design. And the Inman 4. Plenty of living space for the family with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, dual living areas and carport. Take a look. Selector Homes and Building Solutions, Port Wakefield Road, Burton. Visit selectorhomes.com.au.
Hey Barry.
Yes, Bev?
Remember our first Jayco back in the 80s?
Gee, those were the days, Bev.
Yeah. And Walker Crash Repairs have been an RAA approved crash repairer since then.
Wow. That's 35 years.
Yeah, and now they're also an RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
Well, that's because they do such a good job, Bev. You can always relax on the road with Walker Crash Repairs, an RAA approved crash repairer for caravans and cars.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 to 9. Lord Mayor in the studio. We'll talk about the business of the City of Adelaide very shortly. First, we're giving away a family pass to Santa's Wonderland, talking the best drinks to come out of South Australia with the resurgence, the resurrection, the return of the Halls brand. Dean in Parafield Gardens has got a nomination. Morning, Dean.
G'day, guys. Woodroofs at first. Wherever there's thirst, say Woodroofs, then name your drink.
Oh, good
Remember
man.
the old lemonade they had with the Bakelite screw top lid on it? And by gee, when you uncap that, you stand back because the bubbles are incredible on the lemonade.
Still bringing you joy, it sounds like, Dean. Thank you. Mary in Kilburn, good morning.
Hello. Mine is Pickford's Lemon Lime Cordial with iced water, sliced lemon, sliced orange and mint and stirred, not shaken.
Oh, wow. Sounds delicious, Mary. That's a recipe everyone should try today. Michelle in Windvale, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, boys?
Good, Michelle.
Good, thanks, Michelle.
Good. Fruit tingles, mine.
Fruit tingles?
Fruit tingle. Yes, it's a cocktail, of course. So it's got
Seriously?
vodka, blue caracoa, red caracoa and lemonade.
Wowee.
Inspired by
You'd be
the
really
lolly.
buzzing after that, Michelle.
I'll say.
Yeah, beautiful.
Don't
Up and
go
about.
operating heavy machinery
Good
after
stuff.
that.
All right, let's go to Joe in Fulham Gardens. Good morning.
Good morning. How you going?
Good, thanks,
Going
Joe.
back probably about 30-something years ago at John Martin's, I used to go there with my parents. They used to make the best thick shakes in the confectionery.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a fantastic nomination. Thick Shakes, John Martins. Thank you, Joe. Meredith, good morning.
Yes, good morning. The old chocolate snip. You could get a strawberry snip or a chocolate snip in the packs, and when the chocolate really thickened up in the corners, it was magnificent.
Yeah, it didn't start as a drink, but ended as one. Thank you, Meredith. Mark, good morning.
Morning. A real thirst quencher is Bickford's Brown Lime Cordial.
Oh, lovely. They do really good peach iced tea too.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
don't make anything bad.
Robin, good morning.
Good morning. West End Draft, boys. It's nice cold beer.
Yep, 100%.
Thank you,
Go on,
Robin. Let's go to Chris in Banksia Park. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, guys. The hotel with sarsaparilla lemonade from the tap.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Beautiful.
Stephen O'Halloran Hill.
Morning, boys. Years ago at the old Royal Show, you used to get the spider in the corner. I think it was a redback. You get raspberry with ice cream.
And the lime ones
I've
too.
never been able to wrap my head around the spider. I can't.
It's like a science experiment.
I just can't. I don't know who thought of it. I feel like the person was mad.
I don't mind them.
You hate everything sweet. Ice cream and
I like
soft
a little.
drink?
I like Coke with a bit of ice cream in it.
I remember my mother once explained to me what a cider was when I was a little kid, and I thought, seriously, what's going wrong in this world?
You know, after the show, I'm going to go and buy myself some sarsaparilla. All
You
this
do it.
sarsaparilla talk.
Who gets the Santa's Wonderland?
I thought because you
family
remembered
pass?
the ad and the lovely description of the bottle cap, I think we can give it to Dean.
All right, Dean, you are off to Santa's Wonderland with the family. It's going to be it'll be a terrific day. You absolutely love it. The Family Pass, Santa's Wonderland. It's on from the 3rd to the 24th of December at the Adelaide Showground. Tickets from santaswonderland.com.au. Let's check traffic. Glenelg BMW now open on Brighton Road. Book a test drive today.
Thanks, Will. At O'Halloran Hill, got a smash on Main South Road at Majors Road. Croydon got a two-car crash on the North-South Motorway city-bound. It's at Torrens Road with heavy delays back to the Port River Expressway. Henley Beach, those urgent sewer works are continuing Seaview Road near Sea Avenue. And Myrtle Bank got asphalt works on Cross Road between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. Look out for detours and restrictions in place if you're around that neck of the woods. OTR's got your summer sorted with their Sea Coffee iced range. Delicious iced coffee, iced chocolate and the new iced matcha. Order your favourite today at OTR. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When it comes to finding the best workmate for your business, Toyota Forklifts take the crown. And right now it's our ultimate year-end event. Buy any new Toyota material handling forklift, including pallet jacks, stackers, or market-leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts, and you could win one of 2 new Toyota Hilux workmates. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au and become workmates with the world's #1 forklift brand. T's and C's apply. SA licence number T21/1273.
Here's another Mortgage Choice success story.
Hi, I'm Simon.
And I'm Patricia.
We needed something bigger for our growing family.
We went through a broker because we wanted objective advice and a choice of lenders.
Yeah, and I found FIVEaa from Mortgage Choice, and he was fantastic. When we had valuation issues on the first property, he explained our options.
We found a house and he got us exactly the right home loan.
Yep, it felt like he was working just for us.
Choose your own success story with a Mortgage Choice local expert. Visit mortgagechoice.com.au/success.
The Nissan Navara has landed. It's got a 3.5-tonne brake towing capacity, 1-tonne payload, and an intelligent off-road around view monitor. Contact your Nissan dealer today. T's and C's apply.
Sleeping Duck is a mattress startup that gives you confidence you're getting value and quality. It's won a ton of awards because it's all about getting it right for you, without paying too much, or getting stuck with something you don't like from a store. Check it out at sleepingduck.com.
The Isuzu D-Max is born to tow. You can go your own way. Go your own way. With 3.5-tonne towing capacity, trailer sway control and a reversing camera as standard across the range, now's the time to hitch up the boat, caravan or trailer and hit the road in the powerful 3-litre turbo diesel Isuzu D-Max. Search Isuzu D-Max.
Now, if there's one thing my great mate Dave at Goodwood Quality Meats is known for, it is for being picky, which is great news for his customers because every bit of meat sold has earned its place on the table. Now, Dave knows most of his farmers by name, and it's these great relationships that ensure quality time after time. You'll find carefully selected free-range chicken, duck, turkey and seafood alongside your classic beef, lamb and pork. And the small goods made on premises have been awarded all over the world for good reason. It all comes back to relentlessly high standards, from livestock to friendly staff. And with Christmas around the corner, now's the time to place your orders for barbecues, roasts and Christmas ham. The staff at Goodwood Quality Meats will make sure you're set for a feast to remember. So for butchers with a passion for quality, do what I do. Visit Goodwood Quality Meats, 121 Goodwood Road, Goodwood.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
15 minutes to 9. Adelaide sometimes is a small place. Big place, lots of people, but sometimes feels like a small place. So we've been talking about Hall's Lemonade, inspired our conversation about the best beverage to come out of South Australia with the return of the Hall's brand. And the start of the story is this business person that's contacted the Hall's family. Well, we've been contacted by the Hall family because they're very close to us here at 5AA. I didn't know this. The lovely Tori Bickley, Mark Bickley's wife, was Tori Hall.
Oh, really?
So when the businessman we speak about met with the Hall family, it was her father.
You kidding?
That he's met with. Yeah, she just sent us a message.
Fantastic.
So it's a very, very Adelaide story, that. But the Hall family is very close to us here.
Adelaide, 2 degrees of separation,
It
not
certainly
6.
is. All right, let's talk about Adelaide, the city of it, to be specific. The Lord Mayor is with us in the studio. Sandy Verschure, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you both?
We're good, thanks, Lord Mayor. Thanks for coming in. We'll have our regular catch-ups. So the process by which the council ended up supporting the new entertainment centre, it looked a little bit circuitous, but you got there in the end.
Yeah, we made a decision last night again. So there was a rescission motion. Basically, there was a paragraph that was removed and changed last meeting on the 26th. That was revoked and a new decision was made. So basically endorsing the original submission. It's very complicated because the Riverbank Code Amendment is 70 hectares of code amendment along the riverbank. So, and there's 4 zones: the innovation zone, the riverbank zone, the entertainment zone, and the health zone. Last week we had a huge win, and I hope you read about it. We're working with the project director, Brendan, and Minister Wade, and of course they need a car park for the hospital. So what they've done is they've gone away, they've reduced the footprint of the car park by nearly 7,000 metres, so it was 15,000 square metres down to 8, and they've negotiated and started for a land swap. So in the end, there'll be no net loss to parklands. They've opened up so that the Children's Hospital connects to the parkland, and they're going to landscape it and put in cycling paths and things. That is a huge win for everyone. It's a win for South Australia, and it is absolutely a win for that project and for us, because we don't want any loss of parklands. So what this decision does is allows us to have the same conversation with the Premier. I'm on record as supporting the arena. I know there's many successive governments that have built them on the fringes. That has no impact on the city. We know if an arena comes into the city, it'll fill hotels, people use our restaurants, shop, etc. What I didn't want is the subzone, because the subzone allows for 21-storey buildings all along Helen Mayo. So this gives us the opportunity now to go back, talk with the Premier and the state government about how that project may be delivered without any loss to parklands. And there's some great opportunities. And one of the things that APLA worked through in their advice, the Parklands Authority, was that there is the opportunity to put a people's park, for want of a better word, over the top of the rail yards. So you could have an amazing park all through that area, because that's alienated land.
Because it feels like it's not even used at all now. In fact, the only people who use it, which isn't really a triumph for the common man, are a few lucky private schools. Like that whole area, apart from a couple of rowing clubs, private school rowing clubs, there's no real public access there. So are you saying that there's an opportunity to actually make it a much more democratic space than it currently is? Because it just looks like a completely unloved car park with a couple of private school boat sheds tacked on the side.
I mean, at the moment, this is a concept drawing that's been released, and there'd need to be a lot of work around the planning and design, as there has been with the Women's and Children's Hospital. So it changes and changes and changes until we get the right thing. And this allows us to actually have that conversation with the Premier and State Government to say, well, if we're going to put an arena in that area, how do we do it so we don't lose parklands? And there's no net loss is our starting point, and we also reaffirmed our opposition to the other code amendments and that subzone code amendment that allows 21 stories. I was very interested in a quote that was in the paper yesterday that basically inferred that Labor has other plans for that area, and I'm really intrigued as to what those are as well. So, but I do not support the subzone with the 21 stories. I do support an arena coming into the city, but we need to find a way to do that we don't lose parkland.
So is that a sort of an ideological non-negotiable for you? Any proposal that says any square inch of parklands is removed is a no-go?
So I just think there are ways to do it, and there always have been, and that is the opportunity, because once it's lost, and we don't get it back, and that is really iconic for South Australia, and particularly in, we're trying to be a national gardens, national park city. We've got climate change staring us down, in the face, and all that sort of stuff. Those parklands give us the green belt, they give us cooling, they give us space, they give us open air, and if you have a look at a map of South Australia or the metropolitan area, that is one of the only remaining green belts that you've got until you get further out. And it's really, really precious. And more so that when we had COVID, people were rediscovering the parks in their millions. Like, the use of the parks went up by millions and millions. And so, this is another area which we think if we do it properly, we can open that up, connect it to the Biomed precinct, connect it to the other parklands. It's really important.
So I think no net loss is a fair and reasonable position, and I think we have to cherish the parklands because they are unique. We're the only city in Australia that's got anything like them. But what frustrates me, and again, I know we had differing views about this, Lord Mayor, with things like the Aquatic Centre, was some of the criticism around that was, we can't have a brand new building there owned by a private entity. Where I thought, well, there's already a big building there that needs some work done on it. Can't we replace it with a more elegant and smaller one that's still going to have community access? So there should be ways, and I'm not trying to reignite the Aquatic Centre debate, but there should be ways where we can have a conversation, because the real hardline parklands people seem to be trying to almost argue that Helen Mayo Park is, the equivalent of the Amazon at the moment.
The western
it looks like an old car park to me.
The western part of Helen Mayo Park is absolutely beautiful, and the part that goes down to the river has significant trees and is gorgeous. It really is.
But all that should be saved, and will be saved, won't it?
Well, that's what we're hoping. Under the current subzone, it won't be. Under the current subzone, they can build the whole section out by, residential, commercial buildings, hotels, whatever they want to put
So
there.
what would be the plan to be putting there? So the subzone would allow that kind of development, but there is a plan for something.
The only plan that we've got is or the only thing we know about is the arena in that.
So in
that
punter
whole
speak,
area.
the council's position to me seems to be build on the ugly bit and leave the rest of it beautiful.
And no net loss to parklands.
Hmm.
So, and there are
Is that
ways
workable,
to
do you
that.
think?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe
okay.
that it takes a little bit of imagination and a little bit of good design, but I think it's absolutely achievable.
Good stuff. Lord Mayor, Sandy for sure, thanks so much for coming in this morning on 5AA.
My pleasure.
It's 7 minutes to 9. Time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is Leon Bino.
Good morning and thank you for joining us this morning. Make no mistake, this program is nothing without your input. You can ring Josh and he'll put you on to me and then he can run outside for a cigarette. Look, a lot of things to talk about this morning. Not a day goes past when I don't get a call from someone who's virtually stranded because they can't get back into South Australia because they don't get the right tick in the box or the right papers signed. It reminds me of old-fashioned England when we used to put up drawbridges everywhere. Who goes there? Ha ha! You English pig dog, I fart in your general direction. I told him we've already got one. But look, we are not the knights who go near. Come back and fight, you yellow bastard. We're going to be doing a lot more Monty Python references today, I would have thought. I'll come over all Assyrian and want to buy some cheese. Look, a bit later we'll have the head of the epidemiology department at Flinders on, and he'll tell us some things that we didn't know before, and I'm sure you're going to find them interesting. A lot of people are still not sure about vaccination, and that's a shame because it's holding us back as a state in our quest for the Holy Grail. And you can't expect to wield executive power just because some watery tart throws a sword at you. 8223 0000 is our number, and you can call us on any subject at all. Nothing's out of bounds, and let's face it, it shouldn't be blasphemy just saying Jehovah. Oh, right, who threw that? Come on, who threw that?
5 minutes to 9.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. With summer outdoor entertaining on the way, National Tiles has huge stocks of genuine travertine and porcelain pavers at great prices for immediate delivery. Yes, National Tiles has huge stocks of genuine travertine and porcelain pavers at great prices for immediate delivery. So to get your outdoor entertaining areas in great shape for summer, rush into National Tiles now and save. National Tiles, #1 for the very best outdoor pavers.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Hi, it's Jane Riley. ACH Group has always believed that growing older is about a journey, not a destination. It's just one of the reasons why ACH Group is recognised as a leading not-for-profit aged care provider in South Australia. ACH Group has a huge range of services that can support you to live a good life with as much or as little help as you need, at home, in a retirement community or in residential care. Visit achgroup.org.au. Good lives for older people.
88 O'Connell is coming to life. Architecturally designed by Woods Bagot and developed by Commercial in General, 88 O'Connell is seriously one of the most incredible developments to come onto the market in a very long time.
88 O'Connell encapsulates connected living with swimming pools, state-of-the-art gym, indoor and outdoor dining, a fresh food marketplace and retail shopping. And you put on top of that, you've got everything that North Adelaide has to offer, all right on your doorstep.
That's right. The 88 O'Connell Display Suite is now open. It features a fully furnished 2-bedroom apartment. This thing's sensational. Take the time to wander through and you can really appreciate the incredible development, the impressive design and the fabulous lifestyle that it offers. Choose from 2, 3 and 4-bedroom apartments with exceptional views of the city, the hills or the coastline. 88 O'Connell, North Adelaide, more than an address.
The Nissan Juke comes with Apple CarPlay and a 5-year warranty as standard. Plus, low weekly repayments when you finance with Nissan Future Value. Contact your Nissan dealer today. Approved private Nabian applicants only. T's and C's apply.
Don't you ever let a chance go by.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Two minutes to 9. Leon Biner coming up after 9 o'clock. Geez, we got a lot of text on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line this morning. A lot of drink-related commentary as well.
Yeah. I actually think in hindsight it would have been good to do the non-alcoholic category. Because when you throw wine and beer into it, it just gets too unwieldy.
Well, I think listeners did really well, though, with the spider and the snip and all the sorts of other things that they came up with.
Yeah, I like this one. Good morning. My favourite South Australian drink is definitely Adelaide water. I'm 56 years old and I've lived here all my life. There's nothing wrong with me.
Well,
if you made it all the way to 56 drinking Adelaide water.
We need pictures.
Adelaide water gets a bad rap, I think. Adelaide water used to be appalling. I don't think there's anything wrong with Adelaide water now. Straight out the tap.
What's the reason it's gotten better then?
I don't know. Do they treat it differently?
Has it gotten better or you just got used to it?
No, I reckon as a kid growing up.
It was worse?
It used to be actually kind of brown.
Right. Hey, Adelaide Metro have just put out some advice. Oban buses are experiencing delays due to a signalling issue with the Hackney Road Grenfell Street tunnel. No stops are being missed, so that's good news. They apologise for any inconvenience, but there are going to be delays if you're catching the Oban or relying on it this morning.
A lot of love for FIVEaa iced coffee. I think a lot of people have cottoned on to the fact that even though we talk about Farmers Union, that brand has no actual local sort of ownership anymore. If you want to get a locally made, locally produced, locally owned, down there, Mount Compass, you don't get any more South Australian than that. FIVEaa milk. A lot of people love it.
All right, we are out of time.
Not as sickly either.
We will catch you. What's that? Oh, we got to talk about some kindness. Oh, World Kindness Day. How can we possibly forget?
Kindness.
It's up
We
this
love
Saturday.
kindness.
At least you just screamed kindness in my ear. I thought I'd been mean. Make sure you keep an eye out for the Community Living Australia and 5AA Street team this morning. They're handing out fruit shocks in Bridge Street, Murray Bridge. All thanks to Fruit Shocks. Keep listening all this week to find out how you can help 5AA celebrate World Kindness Day. Community Living Australia, positively impacting people living with disabilities, online on Facebook and Instagram.